This WAFLW live stream is brought to you by Optus, proud naming rights partner of the Waffle and the WAFLW. The rear-wheel drive V6 twin-turbo Kia Stinger. Simply Energy, proudly supporting WA footy. And the West Coast Eagles, supporting WA female footballers to follow their dreams.
Are you ready? Ready to go? Are you ready? Ready for more? Are you ready? Ready for me? Oh my my, are you ready? Ready or not, I'll keep going, and I can't stop. Are you ready? Ready for me? Oh my my, oh my my. Are you ready? Are you ready?
Welcome to Steel Blue Oval, the double header here today. We've had the men's as a curtain raiser, and now the ladies are out on the field. Swans and Subiaco, round 3 of WAFLW. It's a fantastic day for football, and good to see some of the crowd sticking around for the girls' match, which should be fantastic today. Two teams that had excellent seasons last year. They met in the preliminary final. Swans were victorious on that day and managed to get through to the grand final, which didn't quite go the way they would have liked, but both teams will be very keen to get an early win over their rivals here today. They've met on 4 occasions in the history of WAFLW, and it's 2 wins apiece, so very evenly matched teams, and we're expecting a big game. Subiaco coming in with a couple of wins. Swans a win over Peel to start the season, then a loss last week to Claremont, and they will be looking to bounce back here this afternoon and set themselves up at 2 wins and 1 loss after 3 rounds of footy. We'll introduce the rest of the commentary team after these messages. A very special guest in the commentary box today, a bit of women's footy royalty here in WA, so we look forward to hearing from her throughout the afternoon. We'll introduce that team after these messages at Swans and Subiaco, your match for broadcast.
All the great teams have many things in common. That ability to deliver when it counts. That certain style about the way they do things. That ongoing quest to be the best. And at Kia, that team mantra is everything. We're proud to support the WAFL and proud to offer Australia's best 7-year warranty. Because with Kia, we've got your back.
Sorry.
I'm just waiting.
It's funny.
Dad!
Party purpose.
Bring your family together. Introducing Optus Family Plan with 4 SIMs and 250 gigs of data to share.
If you need it live streamed, you need Front Row Screens. Visit frontrowscreens.com.au.
Welcome back to Steel Blue Oval here in Bassendean. Swan Districts and Subiaco, your match for broadcast here. Dave Lindsay in the commentary box alongside Clint Degebrot, the WA Footy Commission Manager of Female Talent. Welcome, Deggers. Big game today.
Yeah, really excited. Subi on paper looked pretty strong. Swans always managed to fire up against one of their more famous modern rivals, the Subiaco Lions. Two very good sides.
And you've got a couple of late changes. You've done your homework.
I have. I've done it. Last week my research was run out by about quarter time, but we've got a late change with Lara Filicamo not getting up over a fitness test, and Kia Buckley coming back into the side after it indicated she was going to have a little run in the twos just to get some footy in her hands, with the strength of the AFLW players coming back into the side. And also Caitlin Walker goes out of the side, and in comes Brown. So the big news on Subi, I'll just say this before we go across to the superstar that sits to my left right now, is Maggie McLaughlin on debut, and Charlie Thomas playing a second game. So Maggie's pathway to this position's been been really, really long. She's had to really, really work hard, and it's just really excited for the kid today.
And we did promise some waffle, not just waffle, AFLW football royalty here in our commentary box here this afternoon. The captain of the Fremantle AFLW side, Cara Antonio, joins us. Juddy, great to have you with us.
Thanks, boys. It's good to be here.
And you've either played or coached pretty much every player out here on the field, because there's so many Fremantle listed players for Subiaco today, and of course having played a number of seasons for Swans and coached the Swannies last year.
Yeah, it'll be good to see some of my former teammates, I suppose, at Swan Districts, and current teammates playing it against each other in both lineups. So really looking forward to seeing how this one pans out. Obviously, I don't know too many of the Swan Districts lineup at the moment, obviously being out of the system for the last 6 months. So I'm excited to see how the young group pull together and shape up today.
Because they do look very young on paper. There's a lot of girls from the State 18s program, and even younger than that as well. Tara Stribley out there wearing number 2. Yep. And Subiaco, as you've already mentioned, have a bit of youth as well. So it's young talent time here this afternoon.
Yeah, it's terrific to see the kids getting themselves prepared before they're 18 to be able to stand up at league level. And it's a tribute to the professionalism. Maddie Chechen's asked the question last week, what's the difference? The difference is quite simply the kids take themselves much more seriously. They're much more professional. They drive a higher personal standard, and of course they reap the benefits, and so do the clubs. So really exciting to see. Sort of Swans have been traditionally, they've set the benchmark in playing the kids. They had 14 Rogers qualified aged players so far play league footy this season.
The teams have broken out of their huddles and taking positions to start today's game of footy. There's not too much breeze to speak of. A little bit of cloud cover around, but no chance of any rain. And it really is pretty much perfect conditions here at Bassendean Oval, Steel Blue Oval as it's known. Jodie, I'm not sure if we're allowed to get a tip from you, considering you've got a very strong foot in the Swans camp, I'm sure, still, and a lot of mates out there in the maroon and gold as well. But are you leaning one way or the other?
I think I'd lose friends whoever I tip. So, on paper, as Deg said before, probably Subi, just with the experience that they've got in today's lineup. But you never know with Swans; they've got a lot of hunger under their belly. So let's see. So
we're underway in this first quarter. Bit of confusion. The umpire certainly got the ball in the air. We haven't got a player in the goal square as yet for Subiaco. It
looks like Cuthbert's in.
Yeah, she's going to play deep forward. I'm not sure she's played forward before. I did have a chat with her during the week, and she said, someone better tell me where to go. And obviously she didn't know she had to be in the goal square. So we had a little bit of a delay to get things started. And as it was anyway, no clear winner from the opening bounce. Piscaneri using the body well in the ruck, wins it down in the direction of Haynes, knocked out of her hands. Michaela Hyde, who gets the first kick of the match forward towards half forward. A lot of players around the football contesting hard for it at centre half forward, and there's no chance of that ball coming out. So Subi have thrown the magnets around a bit, Deg, with Cuthbertson, who was a defender for Freo, and I know Jamie Harkin's been playing at centre half back so far this year. And
Beatrice Devlin standing in with Maguire at centre half forward and centre half back respectively, as we see a bit of a stack sign. Becca Webb tries to emerge, gets some sort of kick forward, scooped up behind the play by Haynes. Can't really do too much with it, and the stack's on again. So Juddy, expected this start?
Yeah, obviously, as I said, some young kids in the middle for Swans and the experience in there for Subi. So no doubt this will break open soon. But Swans have been known for their pressure inside at the contest for a number of years. So this is good. Great start.
Bree Hyde's been very good this year in contests of just finding a way to get out. She tumbles this ball down towards Emily Maguire, and Beatrice Devlin tumbles it over the line for a boundary throw. And now we're always excited about bring the ball in 10 metres and throw it to the top of the square, Dave.
It's a centering pass, isn't it? The boundary umpire.
Not quite going to throw it to the top of the goal square here, though.
It's a nice big ground here at Steel Blue as the 25s do the ruck work. Piscaneri with the left hand, palms it down. Haynes tracking the football. He's got a couple of players to beat. Sinead Davison lurking. Took a massive hanger last week. Be great to see her take to the skies again today. And that was a clever centering kick. It's been set up nicely for Michaela Hyde. It came from the boot of Eilish Grundon. And Hyde wants to move things on quickly. Probably just too far out to score. Long kick to the goal square, and they've worked it well. The bodywork of Maguire opened up a bit of a path, and sneaking the back was Sarah Wheelstruck, top of the goal square. Let's take a look at the replay. I reckon you'll see Maguire doing some excellent bodywork just to clear a bit of space. And the mark was taken almost uncontested, and Wheelstruck converts. The first goal of the game goes the way of Swan Districts, and that's a pretty handy start, Jodie.
Yeah, and I actually watched this particular player, Sarah, play for Piara Waters in the amateurs last season, and invited her down towards the end of last year just to have a bit of a run. So no doubt she's got a bit of growth to go, but good to see that she hits the board really early on today.
She got under the ball a little bit last week in her first match, so it's great to see her get a catch early, particularly good deep. Nice ball in from Michaela Hyde too, just to get a weighted pass into full forward. She must have kicked the ball out of the ground for it to take this long to get it back. Some kind of leg from a lady from Piara Waters, recruited by Cara Antonio herself. Restart. Kriskowski gets it down over the shoulder, but pulls it as far as Harkin, who can't quite get her kick away. Falling on the ball now. Swan's trying to shovel the ball forward or push the ball forward to take some grass. Going to be a little bit of repeat stoppages today if this start is anything to go by. This time Piscaneri clear tap out the back. Off hands tackled without the footy is Haynes.
And just watch this. I've seen Hayley Miller start up forward, so I reckon keep an eye on that one. She's explosive when the ball gets out the back.
Good hard work by Abby Darrick to get on the end of that one. Playing on Lauren Osborne skinny, so that's experience on the new. Ball at half forward now for Subiaco. Looks like Michaela Hyde has picked that up off the deck and is embraced nicely at half forward.
Umpire calls for the nominations. Taken out of the ruck by Piscaneri, bit of holding. It'll go her way. Of course, won the Dara Kerr medal last year alongside Hayley Miller. They shared it. Doesn't pass to Miller. Instead, she spotted up the lead, and that's a brilliant pass. And Jackie Toth has dived in to take the mark. So a little bit of space for Miller to lead into. But Toth might fancy herself. No, she's going to chip it into the pocket. Won't quite have to carry towards the intended target in Peanut. Keeping it in. I'm not sure that was a great idea from Lingren. She's caught. That's holding the ball. So Peanut has earned herself a free kick. She's Subi's leading goal kicker so far this season with 3. And this is a tough angle. There's very deep pockets here at Steel Blues, so she's virtually
hard
side
to kick
on.
it from that pocket, that's for sure.
She'll have to run out on the right and see if she can bend it back. She's giving it a fair ride. I tell you what, it's just hit the post. Wasn't a bad effort at all, but they are the deepest pockets in footy. The boundary line's pretty much square onto the behind post there, Juddy. I reckon there'd be a bit of practice in that pocket on the way off from training, wouldn't there?
Yeah, in my 8 years here, I've never kicked one from that pocket, so it's an impossible angle, but really good effort there.
The hands of Nanette, looking for an exit. Bit untidy, bit straight, and over the top, taking the mark and playing on immediately is Miller. She goes to the goal square. She's got a player at the back in Darrick. She handballs over to the top. Just done a bit too much, perhaps, the Subiaco Lions in this instant. And the shot might have been better off than a couple of handballs inside the goal square.
I would have loved to see Miller just take the game on there and kick that one. She's got the distance in her legs, but obviously was selfless enough to hand that one off.
Subiaco have got a great perimeter set up around the outside of this 50. Tough tackle, dumped onto the ground. Umpire does call it that way. So Subi go back in again through Haynes. Haynes to Miller. One-on-one's okay by Osborne. A little touch on the shoulder might be going Miller's way. It is. And Juddy, you might get your wish.
Not sure there was too much in that one, but no doubt if that was me in Hayley Miller's shoes, I would have been happy with this. Yeah, a beautiful set shot when she has her time. So I don't want to give her the commentator's curse, but I'd put my house on this one going through.
You don't want to give a curse, but you put your house on it. I love it. Lovely. Miller on approach. It's a well struck, as Juddy called, and it's post height.
Oh, I've got nowhere to go home to now.
Lipped it across to the other side. Is she your lift home?
I'll be sending a text to her after the game.
She let you down, I think. No. Miller up and about early.
Does everybody know that you've just sold the house?
No, I'll have to text her in the break. I think this is Miller's first game back, so I'll give her that. Get the cobwebs out, and no doubt the next time she has one, hopefully it goes through.
So Swanee's back into play, and Osborne, she's also got the fluorescent boots on in the back pocket. There's a big pack of players in the direction that this kick's heading. Maguire with the fist almost could have taken the mark at the second bite. Bit of push and shove at the back from Golisano, trying to clear a bit of space for herself. Anderson's kick goes almost straight in the air. It's been pinched. Good mark. Taken there by Grundon. Grundon with the centering ball. Chance for Cox to set something off half back. Has the lead across the ground. It's a dangerous kick. Intercepting is McIntosh.
Right idea. Probably just needed to run her distance and then kick it over the back there.
This kick goes over the head of Cuthbertson. Miller overruns it as well. Working at the back, Dowrick. Swans with plenty of jumpers around. Cuthbertson gets in and wins it. Tries to field a hand pass up towards Dowrick, but Swans win out. And clearing again is Cox. This into open space at half back. Little one-on-one contest. Eventually, plenty of lines arrive to help out. Here's Thomas. Normally uses the ball pretty well. This one she puts into space in front of Dowrick. Gets rid of Cox. Gets back onto a right boot, sends a tumbling ball goal. It'll bounce in the goal square, and it takes the off break through for a goal. Well, great work there from Subiaco. They fought hard to lock the ball in. They're attacking probably 70 metres, refusing to let it out, and eventually a little bit of luck with the bounce, but a nice goal there from Dowrick, and Subiaco take the lead for the first time today.
Dowrick can kick the ball further than most people at the moment. Mackenzie, very similar herself, kick the ball. They can really penetrate. So the defence set up just a little shallow, and the kick was able to carry over the back. So setting up for a 30-metre kick, but Dowrick can kick at 40.
The pressure was building, though. I think Subiaco repeat forward 50 entries, and obviously that one really lucky to get out the back and bounce through. But yeah, Swan's backline, you can see we're under a lot of pressure there. So a great result for Subi.
Richie in the ruck now. Kriskowski gets the tap down, but sharked at the back by Haynes. He's able to flip that ball over through the centre of the ground. It's in the hands of Rhodes, who played State League netball last night and State League footy today. Her ball is intercepted by Lauren Osborne, and again intercepted in return. It's in the hands of Beatrice Devlin, who flicks it off to Hayley Miller. Hayley Miller's starting to grow in confidence. She's got a long ball here, pushed over after she kicked it. It doesn't matter because it's bounced in the square and gone through.
I think it was a
What's
Shepherd,
happened
actually.
here?
It's gone against Haynes.
Oh,
So Haynes might have interfered on Amy Ralph in the Shepherd, so it's coming back.
I don't think we need Hayley Miller any angrier
yeah,
than she
she's
is
not
at the
happy. I
moment.
can tell with that body language. She's practiced a lot throughout the off season and even in our AFLW season. We know how powerful she is and how explosive she is, and to kick goals on the run. And that was a fantastic finish. But unfortunately, a little bit of an undisciplined act by her teammates to give away that free kick.
Wonderful kick. Really nice to Amy Ralph there too, going and getting the ball for her to give it back, Miller. Just on the wing now in front of the commentary box, in front of the crowd too. Just a bit of pushing and shoving. We'll get another restart. That's Buckley working hard outside. Missed that one.
Yeah, not sure what that one was for.
Little free kick. Ball's going to go to the top of 50 again. It does carry the pack. This puts it in the way of Jackie Toth, and she's running towards the goal. She swings out wide. The kick goes in the same direction. But lots of whistling going on behind the play, so it must have been
a second kick.
Must have been a little nudge from Nanette after she got rid of the ball. Missed that one. A couple of whistles at the moment, surprising us. They are on the spot though, the umps at the moment.
I'd love to see some body work here from Cuthbertson in the goal square, just to body out her opponent to get a mark. She's on the move.
Lyndall Road was standing by herself 30 metres out directly in front, and at the last minute Naira Anderson covered her up, so Toth will take the shot inside outside, and she gets the same result. What, did she get 2 points for that, or did she just get that solitary?
2 for the price of 1. They're peppering the goals, Subi. They're leading by 4 points, but the ball's pretty much been exclusively in their half of the ground since Swans kicked that opening goal in the first 3 or 4 minutes. To kick back into play, pretty much a 1-on-4 as it turns out, and when the mark's not taken, there's trouble. Buckley wants to take them on, brushes off one tackler and finishes with a goal. Nice play from Kia Buckley, late inclusion here today, and that's a nice way for her to start her game, and Subiaco get a little bit of reward for all of that effort as Buckley just demanded that football and then brushed aside the tackler a little bit too easily, and the finish was good as well, and Juddy Subiaco really starting to take control.
Yeah, not sure if that was the right option from Jalmi out of the full back. I mean, she probably weighted the kick up a little bit too high for Cripps to actually take the grab. So probably in that situation, I would have, wanted her to go wider. But again, the pressure's building. Subiaco are building, and a fantastic finish there.
Buckley might be her first goal in league football, and stiff-arming experienced fullback Gelmy, no easy feat. Wellstrom in the ruck pulls the ball down to Anderson. She squeezes it back to Jess Cox. Inside, outside, right foot kick. Travels towards Charlie Thomas, who takes the ball on her chest. Looks to play on quickly. Does so. Finds a player out wide. Golisano. She has a little bit of a trot before going long. It's a good kick. Weighted ball to the advantage of her half forward. It's in the hands of Thorogood. Thorogood drops back over to Golisano. They're playing very wide on this wing, but they're playing with that pressure at the moment. Now the ball will be turned over. Coming through the other way was Amy Ralph. Ricochets off a player and goes out of bounds in the... Oh, it's not even the pocket, is it? It's right up there on the flank on that big ground.
So Subi by 10 points. Swans with the first goal of the game, and then the Lions with a couple to put their authority on this contest. 6 scoring shots to 1. Ball in dispute. The umpire watched for a while. Couldn't find any way to break it up, so he's going to ball it up instead. Anderson with a little hand pass out into space. The umpire has spotted a free kick this time. It'll come back to Nora Anderson. She was pushed in the back. Has she got rid of the hand pass? Look to clear now to the outer wing. Kicking to a one-on-one contest. It's a fine mark. It's been well taken there for Swan Districts by Holwell. A kick down the line. Not able to be taken. Swans continue on. Next kick's not effective though. Piscaneri in the way. Just lining up a kick behind the plate. She wants to go back down the same line. Most players on the ground over on that wing. The ball comes off hands, and as a result, there'll be a boundary throw in just forward of centre for Subiaco. They lead it by 10 points. We've got about 6.5 minutes to go. The flat 20-minute quarters in WAFLW for season 2020.
Any coaches move here for Swannies?
To be honest, Subi have probably shooting themselves in the foot. They've had a number of opportunities and could probably be a couple more goals in front. I think Swans have done well to hold on, but just need to win it at the contest. Maybe need a Maguire inside just to get the bigger body in, get clean hands, and then get it out the back into the forward. So, not sure. Obviously, only a couple minutes to go in this quarter, I believe, but we'll see how they get together at quarter time and move the magnets around there.
Hayley Cole, I don't think that was her intended target, but it's a nice kick and it's in the hands of Holwell. Travelling down the outside of the ground now to Webb. The Swans are very wide, as have been Subi. A nice ball going in, looks like for Michaela Hyde. Pretty good when the ball gets over the back, Michaela Hyde, but Devlin's going to put some pressure on at the back of the square. Back to Devlin now, who we'll call that a professional fumble through the line. She did have a little look up. I think she was going to clear the footy, just couldn't quite keep the handle.
I don't mind that build-up, though. That slow, patient footy, especially for Swans. Kick mark, and then, as you said, try and get it out the back. I don't mind that.
Lee Devlin doing what she does very well, which is run. She gets this ball long and deep. She'll get it into the hands of it, or into the pathway of a teammate out there. It's Birchall. She's paddled it 30 metres ahead, so good defensive play from the Subiaco Lions with no real clear possession, but travelling the ball 30 metres further forward before everyone arrives and jumps in the footy. Umpires letting it play. Intended backfeed was good, but it was intercepted by Panea. Swans have got good defensive positioning this time. Should be able to force this over the boundary. Now, Swans that own the length that time. Subiaco have had most of the length in the game so far, would you say so?
Oh, definitely. And as I said, probably just need to gain a little bit more control, Swans. When they've got the ball, just be a bit more patient. That kick mark works for them. Come inside, and then that deep forward 50 entry.
Clearance from Michaela Hyde finds the chest of Cole. Pushing up from half forward. Wants to bring it into the corridor. Good option. And it's set up nicer here for Webb. Wants to go down the middle now. On the long lead, Brianna Hyde. Ball spills over the back. Little fumble from Devlin. Cuthbertson's gone back into defence to look after Maguire, who wins his contest. Slips it out the back door. Coming in to help McLaughlin. Her first touch. Hands it off to Rode. And Subi clear for the moment at least. Slapped forward by Golisano, but Swan's in the way. Comes to Cox now. And she spreads it out wide. Michaela Hyde had the ball go over her head. Rode with her every step of the way. Good little one-on-one battle. Hyde with a paddle. Now tackled by Rode. They bring it to ground, and the umpire will say, well played, both ladies. Good contest, 50-50 in the end, and we'll ball it up.
Michaela Hyde working inside at the stoppage. It's Davison. Took a big hang last week that propelled her into media stardom and got her an interview with Draft Central. Rookie, or called Rookie Me these days, isn't it? So it's nice to see her catch on the national stage. Of course, these games being live streamed and some of the only female football being played in Australia. And that's a very, very good mark going back. That looks like Cuthbertson. Nice mark overhead. She had that all the way. Feeling very comfortable back behind the football. Defensive kick. It's a good one. Surrounded by Swans here. A couple of them have a grab at it, but Miller is the one that has influence on the stoppage or the contest. Shoved out of the way and then confronted with a fierce tackle. Said it wasn't when he had the ball. Thought Ralph's attack on the footy was good. Derek chest-to-chest tackle. The little free kick with 1 minute to go. It's in the hands of Amy Ralph. Cheeky little lead from Maguire. The kick will carry, and it finds Davison out the back, who's pretty good overhead, whether she's in the air or feet on the ground. She finds Webb central, but it's a good defensive spoil from Devlin, and she's got the run of the footy now. Grosowski, some good pressure through Harkin to Thorogood. Bit of space here to work in if the Lions can get the ball to sit. Slowed up defensively. Out the back now into the pathway. She tries to keep it her own pathway, but it ends up in the hands of Nanit. And Nanit should be able to relieve the pressure for just a moment.
Subi, they have the numbers at half forward. Nice little sidestep. Devlin sets it up nicely for Darrick. And Darrick marks directly in front of goal. She wants to move this one on. No, she'll go back and have a shot. She just about have the distance in her boot here.
Yep. Strikes the ball nicely.
She's got the long baggy Eddie Betts shorts on.
I've got a house in Mackay I could put on it. I don't really want it.
From about 40 out.
Lucky.
Well, what do they say? Gamble responsibly, you two. You both lost a bit of property in this first quarter. But Subiaco dominant in the first term, and they lead it by 10 points at quarter time, 2-4-16 to 1 straight goal 6. Wheelstra kicked the first goal of the game. Darrick and Buckley kicked the goals for Subiaco once they took control of the contest. So it's 6 scoring shots to 1. You can see here the Swans players coming in to have their first quarter time break and a few instructions from their coach. Some pretty warmish conditions, so some pretty tired players out there at the moment. As you can see, Sinead Davison, number 14, had a bit of it in that first term, and Jess Cox did some good work in defence as well.
See, just having a little look there at Fee Boucher's socks. Now, traditionally, players cut their socks off. So the female program said, well, let's just give you shorter socks. Well, she's extended her short socks, which is remarkable.
Yep, got them pulled right up to the knees. So she's happy with the longer socks. Meanwhile, Subiaco just breaking into their lines at the moment to have a bit of a discussion about the first term. Quarter time here, 10 points the margin to Subiaco.
It's a high ball.
Don't you diddle, don't you daddle, you better skedaddle. You need to run for your life. Well, like Virginia Creeper, well, didn't want to keep her just maybe for a while. You're the lady in a hurdle. Well, I feel that day.
All the great teams have many things in common. That ability to deliver when it counts. That certain style about the way they do things. That ongoing quest to be the best. And at Kia, that team mantra is everything. We're proud to support the WAFL and proud to offer Australia's best 7-year warranty. Because with Kia, we've got your back.
If you need it live streamed, you need Front Row Screens. Visit frontrowscreens.com.au.
Quarter time here at Steel Blue Oval. And Subiaco have strong first quarter. 2-4-16 to 1-1-7 the score at quarter time. Goals to Darrick and Buckley in the first term for the Lions, and a goal to Wheelstra for Swan Districts. As we look at some of the highlights of the first term, Dave Lindsay, Clint Degebrot and Cara Antonio, your commentary team. And Juddy, Swan started brightly. The first 4 or 5 minutes were pretty impressive, but really Subiaco took control from then on.
Yeah, they did. They started really well. First centre clearance. Michaela Hyde, top of the goal square. Great body work by Maguire there, and we're able to go back and convert. But I think just with the experience and the run and the fitness from Subiaco, you can tell that they were able to run out that quarter. And again, probably didn't get bang for their buck. 2 goals, 4. Probably could have had another couple. But really impressed thus far with just the effort from both teams in and around at the contest.
So the first term dominated by the Lions. You can see the latest of the goals. The little bender the first goal, in fact, Subiaco kicked through Darrick. Had one to Hayley Miller as well that was just disallowed for some illegal shepherding as well. And the goal from Buckley Deggs, who I think probably only had a couple of touches in that first quarter, but you don't mind when your second touch of the game is a goal.
And nice to see a young player too, just settling her nerves. As we said, late call back up into the league side, so she'll feel pretty good about herself now, working on and off the bench. Charlie Thomas getting involved as well.
So the huddle's about to break up. The umpire's coming across and having a bit of a chat with the team managers or someone involved, maybe water runners, both umpires or two umpires out there coming across to have a chat with the officials of both teams. Not too sure what that was all about, but they certainly spotted something in the first quarter as the Subiaco players return to position to start quarter number 2.
Yeah, it's interesting that Janelle Cuthbertson taking that mark defensively late in that quarter, but she's gone back forward again here. Really like the way they've structured up their play. They've owned the length of the contest for the most part. Just at the end there with Webbs running and Hayley Cole getting involved, the Swans started to be able to travel the length of the ground, and then they had the defensive setups too because a bit of pressure was able to be relieved for a moment. So it looks to me like the Swannies need to make sure they do get their clearances right and get the ball going their way just to make their setups work a bit closer.
Yeah, probably just need their shape better around the contest. They're winning it inside but have got nothing on the outside to give it to the runners and then get it inside 50. So look, I'm looking personally for that in this quarter, but Cuthbertson up at full forward. She has done a little bit of work down at training at AFLW level, so I'm interested to see if she can get on the scoreboard.
So we're just about ready to go. Start of the second quarter. Subiaco by 9 points. As we start proceedings, the Rucks go at it. Both of them had a second slap at the ball. Trying to burst her way through for Swans was Morrison. They go towards half forward. A couple of little one-on-ones going on. Ball looks to be spitting out the back, but no, the umpire might have to blow this one up. Davison tackled by Golisano, and the umpire coming in. Beautiful sunshine. Nice day to be watching footy, and a number of spectators have remained after the men's game. As we said, the curtain raiser to WAFLW today would have taken a bit of getting used to for the fans and also the league players here at Swans. Free kick picked out for some high contact. It'll go Subiaco's way, and they'll have a chance to set something up off half back here. Haynes with the football. Just to go down the corridor. It's a good kick over the back. Flying was Blackmore. Couldn't take it. Held by the one hand was Birchall. Just got a toe to the ball. Could have almost been holding the ball. Cox coming through strongly for Swans. Wins the footy. And then sends it long. Bounces all the way towards half forward. Harkin coming off half back. Kept it in front. McLaughlin almost an accidental soccer, but it's worked out nicely. Into space. In front of Birchall again. She goes to ground and takes the knees of her opponent, but the umpire says high contact. Free kick goes against Nannett. Probably a little unfortunate as Birchall kicks high, looking for Cuthbertson through her fingertips out the back. Dowrick tried to put the move on before she had the footy in her hand. Little toe poke coming across by Toth. Still a chance here with Cuthbertson. Swings onto the right boot. High kick towards the pocket. Dowrick knocks it to ground. Cuthbertson will get this one back. Feeds the hand pass back, this time to Road. Off a step, snaps on goal and just misses way to the left. But Subiaco starting the second quarter as they pretty much played most of the first term. Just can't find the major openings really to get full value. Yeah,
50-50 free kick for me at the top of that 50, but that that happens. Really good deep forward. Oh, and great mark there.
Is that Blackmore on the intercept? So she's able to chop that ball off under fierce pressure. She's having a little look inside. Strikes the ball usually quite nicely. A couple of options inside and a couple of attractive options deep as well. She looks like she's going to give herself a test. Just steps just a little wide at the last moment. As a consequence, the ball slips shallow through for a behind. Aggressive start. Subiaco still owning the perimeter, really defending hard. Osborne plays on. Demands someone come at her. A little tumbling pass doesn't quite work as intended. Still might allow Swans to get a defence. A little handball not called. Tackle inside 50. Just have to check that ponytail. It looks like Harkin, but of course I can see Harkin at half-back. Meanwhile, Abby Dowrick just cuts off in front and takes a mark in front of her chest. Just a little flat-footed to Swans' backs.
Yeah, Osborne there read that one in flight, but was probably a split second too late. Left her a direct opponent and obviously didn't impact the contest there. So a great kick and obviously a great mark. Let's see if she can finish.
He hits it with some authority, flat punch straight through. A kick like that would have been her second if you had struck it as well as that just before quarter time. So Darrick's on the board now for Subiaco, and Subiaco just skip away a little. The scoreboard is still not out of control in any way, but things are looking ominous for the Swans, the way Subiaco are controlling this game.
Yeah, they are. For me, I'd like to see obviously Subi have got the run in the legs and the experience and are hitting clear targets. Swans are struggling to get their hands on the ball. So my direction would be win the ball first, and if you can, kick forward, create another stoppage and win the ball inside 50 that way.
It's Birchall that was doing the good defensive work inside the 50 there, and she was just managing to hold everything up repeatedly and just causing lots and lots of issues for the Swans defenders. So really good forward pressure from Birchall.
She's the one that every time you see it, you think it's Harkin, because Harkin's normally in and under and at the feet of Piscaneri.
And the ponytail throws me every time as well.
Harkin's back in the goal square defending this year. Great tackle in the middle by Haynes. Ball spills out. Piscaneri, not sure if she maybe lost track of where she was going there. She could have just about put it on the boot, but she's caught holding the ball. Michaela Hyde wants to take the free kick, but will have to come back. She wasn't the player doing the tackling. It's Graskowski who's got it now. And that delay's allowed plenty of players to fill the space at half forward. So it'll be a kick to a contest. High up and under towards centre half forward. Ball comes to ground. That was Harkin doing the work that time. Tackled was Davison. Out towards Cox. Quick kick forward, but it's read well off the boot. And Tyler McIntosh takes the relieving mark for Subiaco. The two-handed ball drop to Harkin. Happy to stand in front of Boucher and take the mark, and then puts it out in front nicely. Really used the ball well there to Blackmore. Subiaco's connection has been good in the first quarter and a bit. His kick clears the pack. McIntosh there. Hurry kick forward. Intercept mark taken by Olivia Cripps. I think at first she thought it might not have travelled the distance. She wanted to move it on, but then the whistle blew. Taking some solid contact there.
Now, Miller wasn't happy with the call of a mark, and he's taken it out on the opposition here.
Grundon took the mark and the contact. Back towards Cripps. A little bit of help from Webb, but Cripps takes the mark. And now wants to move it on. Just tumbles it forward. Attacking the ball in the air nicely there was Wheelstrup, but couldn't take the mark, and as a result now Subiaco able to rush it away. Darrick attacked that ball hard in the air, then gets rid of Osborne. Osborne, they trapped the ball with her feet, and now she fights on well. At least holds things up there for Swan Districts. Continuing to fight on for the Lions though was Devlin. Ball spilling out for a moment. Oh, riding that tackle nicely, and following out a hand pass was Holwell. Stribley comes across, couldn't take the football with her. Subiaco kick it back into the congestion, and Holwood takes it in the middle of the ground.
Holwood starting to play that wing really well. She's getting some control. Kick slews a little bit. Welsh just gives her a little shove when she realised that it wasn't going to get past Devlin. So Beatrice Devlin almost in the middle of the ground, looking for a little forward connection. Road tries to get it going her way. Trapping the ball well on the ground was Nannet. The kick is smothered by Thorogood. Feeds it back to Lyndall Road, who went without it. Kick forward now, looks to be okay towards Ritchie. Little hand in there from Webb, allows Osborne to run onto it, though she fumbles, causing themselves some issues here, Swans. All of their experience is enough for her to look out wide, but controlling the perimeter again, that's Thorogood. Attempting to get to Road again. Looking inside if she can. She just sort of stopped there, and the Swans are able to run over it. That's Wilstrom kicking the ball long to Cox. Little hold. Cox took front position. A little bit of pressure on McIntosh. Webb's run on nicely. She's got all the field ahead of her. She's got no one coming to her. She's very quick and she strikes the ball good by foot. She has a flying shot. It's just going to slip skinny, and the mark is intercepted by Holly Hyder. A couple of players I don't know too much about for Subi today, Juddy, who are handling the ball very, very well, and McIntosh and Hyder are two of them.
Yeah, there's a number of players from both sides, to be honest, that I haven't heard a lot about and are obviously new to our game, but it's exciting to see that, I suppose, that our game at WAFLW level is in fantastic hands.
So Ritchie spotted up Buckley on the way out here for Subiaco. And again, their use of the football's been impressive. The kick to the wing. Toth got it into the air again. Cripps gives a hand pass off. Tackled immediately was Wilstrup. Ball in dispute on the wing. Comes to Cripps, who kicks straight down the throat of Ritchie. And again, Subiaco will look to set things up off half back. Little stab pass to Road on the lead. Takes the mark and then tells the umpire where the mark should be. Umpire believes her and marches her opponent back a few steps. And now Road kicks for distance. Long down the line. Getting back, Buckley makes a good contest. She looked out of position but fought hard. And now she's able to hold things up for Subiaco. We'll have a ball up now at left half forward. Juddy, you've sat in this sort of area a number of times. Are you getting the itch to coach at the moment? You're a couple of boxes down from the one that has all the pressure on it.
Oh, you obviously always, you either want to play or coach. When I was coaching, I was itching to play. So I'm a bit of both at the moment.
Strong mark by Gelmy coming the other way. Narrowly missed cleaning up Osborne. I think Osborne's spider sense just got her to turn her head at the right time. This kick towards Wellstrom again. Can't quite take the mark, although she does pull it down on the second. It's well struck, my apologies. Does take it down on the second grab. It's well struck. Long and high to the wing. Boucher camps under it. Plenty of pressure and players around this ball. Hands and knees now on the far side of the ground. Trying to emerge with the football now is Thompson. Stacks on the mill again. So just a little bit of slow play. The umpire's going to speed this up by saying you dragged it in. Free kick is awarded to Subiaco. They moved the ball quickly to half forward. Miller seemed to be coming, or wasn't Miller, it was Thorogood coming hard at the footy, but intercepting neatly overheads Kia Buckley. Buckley's kicks, an aggressive one. Stribley can't quite get the intercept clean into her hands. The ball tumbling forward for Swans. It looks okay ahead of the ball here if they can move it forward. Going towards Boucher. She has to be neat by hand here. She back feeds to a runner. It's Osborne. Worked very hard to get up from half back. Back to Boucher. Handy in a tackle into the path of Morrison. Haven't seen too much of Morrison yet. Bit of bullocking work behind the plate. It's Naira Anderson. Flicking the ball out towards Maguire. Maguire, a decent tackle. Just holds the ball at 50 for a moment, but there's a lot of lines around this footy. Spits back out towards Maguire. She's a long kick of the ball. She throws it really, really far to the square. She doesn't get the off-break bounce. It actually bounces top spin style. Straight up in the air, is able to be paddled through. The black armbands for the Swans, before I get Juddy to have a chat, are for Naira Anderson's brother, who unfortunately passed away in February. So the Swans for her today. It would have been his birthday today. So love and wishes to the Anderson family as this ball hooks back towards Devlin from the square. Devlin rebounds to Road. Road is able to handle this ball cleanly. Just awaits and lets things unfold. Not a bad option to get to Miller, who protects the ball really, really well against Brianna Hyde. Really careful ball movement. It's Golisano. She lets it out the back, and it's Cripps that will be the recipient. She tumbles the ball forward. Cripps is 15 years of age today. Well, not her birthday today, but as of this game, she's 15 years old, 16 this year. She finds Boucher. Boucher goes long to the goal square. Maguire has a fly, doesn't quite get her hands on this one. And all the defence to be done by Subi again. Starting to look a little bit more lively, the Ducks. A little hand over the shoulder. And this ball... Everyone getting a little stroppy in there, Dave.
Hayley Cole ready to pull the trigger on that punch there. Cuthbertson clearing out of defence, but intercepted nicely by Grundon. Swans want to move it on quickly from this position every chance they get. The ricochet comes out. Morrison, beautiful sidestep, and she loves a goal, and she snuck it through. Ooh. Gee, the sidestep was very smooth. And she's a player, Juddy, that I think we'll see a lot more of, not just at WAFLW, but perhaps at the next level as well over the next few years.
Yeah, heard a lot about her over the last couple of years. It's good to see she's now playing at a WAFLW level. So the more exposure and experience I suppose she can get in that environment will obviously bridge that gap for her potentially to get drafted at an AFLW level.
What a shy lady, highly skilled, pre-med at UWA. Not a bad ambition for a young person. Footy on the weekends and books all week.
You can see that Subi have made that change again late in this second quarter. Cuthbertson has now gone into defence. So I'm liking that kind of split 50-50 at the moment. It's good to see.
Well struck in the ruck now. Recipient of a rebound into the arms of Piscaneri. Not the most comfortable place to be on the football field. Piscaneri now holds that front spot. Although both players intended to get it to the same spot, it's in the hands of Michaela Hyde. Falls forward in the tackle. Naira Anderson, hands and knees. Back feed to Bree Hyde. She kicks to space, hoping for a winger. Her sister cast in that role. Arrives a little late. Cole to put pressure on the back feed from Subiaco. Piscaneri getting involved around the ground. Finds Thomas. Thomas further afield to Golisano. There's a neat little flip back, and this is a nice build-up. The ball long from Thomas, and Darrick stands in front again. Gets a little bump after. She made sure the umpire knew it. She goes sideways to Devlin, who's worked her way up the ground. And another good use of the football It's a long way out, 47 to 50 metres this will have to travel. Beatrice Devlin is a sweet kick of the ball, but does she have the distance?
I'm not making any comment because I made that mistake in the first quarter.
You're in a nice place too. You're going to be disappointed to have to move out of that. Devlin, meanwhile, she's got all of her foot on this one. The big flyers in the pack. No one can pull the ball down. In fact, the whole pack collapses in the forward pocket, and Swans will be very happy with a restart, you'd think, from this position.
Just out of position, I think those backs there for Swans. Just know a lot of separation for those Subi forwards to get clear, and you saw Abby Darrick take that easy mark.
Jessica Ritchie, aggressive tap forward. Swans just haven't relieved the pressure yet. Little handball might work. Taken well. Thrown onto the boot with a inside-outside, nor was that just a flushing off the foot? It's Maggie McLaughlin who set up Nazi behind the ball, and she's famous for her feet. That will just help to settle her nerves a little, and no one will be worried about that at this stage from her. Neat defensive positioning. One of those nervous little smiles on her face, I'd imagine. She's got a kick. Well done. Hyde. Short kick attempt. It's going to fall with Piscaneri. It's pretty well there, Piscaneri. That handball wasn't intended for Buckley, but she did enough with it. It's going to go in the hands of the Swannies and just dragged over the line cleverly by Brie Hyde.
A much better lasso from our boundary umpire there, Dex. The ones we saw a couple of weeks ago were half lassos.
I like the knees bent. I think it's really important. Really got to get into it.
So the free kick will go Subiaco's way. Walking the ball back into play is Pina. That's normally called play on by the umpire, not on this occasion. Kicks towards the 50-metre arc off hands. Osborne will want to keep this one in. Thought maybe she'd take it out, and maybe now she wishes she had. The hand pass was intercepted. Puts the rest of her defence under pressure. Anderson, the kick goes in towards the corridor. That's a dangerous position. Golisano, hurried kick forward. Nanette getting back, just overruns it. Buckley's there, but it's going to run into the goalpost and one behind.
It would have been 18's teammates, or will be after this season concludes too.
So Nanette with the kick back into play. Puts it out in front of Osborne. It wasn't a perfect kick. It's made Osborne do a fair bit of work to win this one back. And then I think it's Webb who's just fired a hand pass back to Nanette. They've made a bit of a mess of things there, Swan Districts, unfortunately. We'll see a boundary throw in. Is that some new artwork on the left arm of Bianca Webb as well, Juddy?
It is. I saw that through social media. It was very surprised, but I've seen it in the flesh. It's actually a nice piece of art.
Saw her, when was it, about February, Degs? I think she was playing a few games with the Jan Cooper Cup, and there was certainly no tattoo on the arm at that occasion. So obviously during the shutdown,
Got bored.
She got Johnny and Jill Docker tattooed on her upper bicep. As Swans have moved this the length of the ground without a possession, although Wilster will get one now. It's a nice kick. It sits well. Neither player wanted to mark it in the end. It's Colin McLaughlin. Maggie Mack bumped off the footy, but the recovering tackle was good, and she'll cause a restart. Strong enough tackle that a few of the Swannies were concerned, but it was all neat and fair. Both those players don't mind a bit of body contact. Wilstra, Piscaneri down. Pathway, Golisano oversteps it. Nora Anderson has a fly at it. Can't quite get through. She's gathered now, and the handball release is good to Hyde. Hyde goes along towards the top of the square. It looks like Amy Ralph has gone forward. She's battling with Harkin. Maguire now arrives. Can't quite get a clean pickup. Trying to push their way through now. The Lions' defence is very aggressive through Cuthbertson. Ball bounces around again. And we're going to have a little restart. Now, just a special call out, because we walked past the AFL store the other day, Giselle and I, Juddy, and there was a Juddy doll in the window in a Freo jumper. It looked exactly... You didn't know this?
No, I
Not
didn't.
modelled off you? She was most impressed. In fact, she's still talking about it 2 weeks later. There is a Juddy doll. So you can get yourself a Freeman little Juddy doll.
What's it worth? What did it cost?
Not much, obviously.
No. It's priceless is the answer to that. As we see Subiaco get towards their half-foot line again. Stribley very clean below her feet on that occasion. She opens up the game a little through the corridor to Anderson, who does complete the mark. Anderson looks back towards Stribley. Makes it a bit of a task for her, but she's quick enough just to duck away. The kick doesn't favour her forwards, but there's a little push, and it's Maggie Mack on Hayley Cole. So Hayley Cole has a free cook for a little hands in the back. Just a bit of defensive pressure, I guess. The kick really didn't favour Cole. Maggie just trying to protect that space. It's giving away a little free kick. So Cole, it's a neat ball, but it's going to go shallow again. These players are starting to strike the ball nicely by foot. I sort of say that over and over and over, but the kicking skills over the last 3 years have improved out of sight.
Oh, definitely. And I think it's been a focus to just build those basic skills up from the ground up, no matter what the level of your ability is, because it's so important, especially with a fast-paced game, an open style play game. You want to hit targets, and especially when fatigue hits in, it's the team that can hit targets with fatigue that are going to win the game.
Particularly out of defence, I reckon Subiaco's kicking today has been a feature. This time, not their best passage of play, but they have managed to clear the defensive end and get a restart just backward of centre wing for themselves. Their lead is 10 points. Swans have done well to hang in there this quarter. The general run of play still seems to be dominated by the Lions, but here goes Michaela Hyde to put Swans up towards the attacking 50. Clears the head of her sister. Harkin waiting at the back. Run down by Morrison. Loose football now. Stribley's there for Swans. Umpire spotted a holding free kick. A bit of frustration, I think, from Bianca Hyde giving that one away. And McIntosh will get the free kick for Subiaco. The 1 minute call goes out amongst the coaches' boxes up here. It's always good to hear some of the action from the coaches' boxes. Jodie was pretty quiet, wasn't she, when we commentated up here last year, Degs? There wasn't much coming out of the Swans box. We are a bit further away from the Swans box than the away team box, so
Am I allowed to agree with you?
maybe.
Am I allowed to agree with you? Because Jodie's sitting next to me.
That's a good answer. Osborne runs straight into a tackle. Good enough to get a hand pass away to Cox. Her kick. That was courageous from Stribley up against Piscaneri. Fighting in a totally different division there. Ball right in the middle of the ground.
Distracted.
Davison. Nice little sidestep. Buys herself some time, but the kick intercepted. And McLaughlin just reading that well at half back. Strikes that ball well. Heard the thump off the boot towards Dowrick. Couldn't take the mark, but follows up with a fierce tackle. Great work there from Dowrick, and the umpire appreciated that one. We'll ball it up right in front of our broadcast position as we edge towards the half-time siren. Piscaneri in the ruck again, opposed to Wilstra. And that ends the first half, and it's been entertaining, and I think the standard of play has improved the longer the game has gone. Subiaco with a 10-point lead. Probably should be a bit more, having kicked 3 goals, 7. But Juddy, Swans, I thought, fought pretty hard in that second quarter. It could have easily blown wide open.
Definitely. The effort is there from Swans. It's probably where they're falling down is at half forward, where they're getting the ball running into the forward line and just kicking and hoping. Probably need to lower their eyes a little bit more and get the ball in deeper. If anything, I would like to see probably a few of the young kids down forward just to get a bit more speed down there and a bit more agility down there, to get a few out the back and then hit the scoreboard that way. But the effort is definitely there from Swans, and we're sure to be in for a really red-hot second half with Subi. Again, probably kicking himself with 3 goals, 7. Probably should be a few more goals up.
You can see the Swans players again. Their decks just going to the wrong exit. They're still getting used to these brand new change rooms, which I'm told are fantastic. We might get Jodie to talk about those. I'm sure she's probably got a bit of info on the new change rooms down there for Swan Districts. But the Black and Whites have got a little bit of work to do in the second half. They trail by 10 points. It's half time here at Steel Blue Oval.
If you need it live streamed, you need Front Row Screens. Visit frontrowscreens.com.au.
The V6 twin turbo rear wheel drive Kia Stinger. It took 7 years to create and 4.9 seconds to understand why.
Hey darling, so I was thinking maybe we could all go out for dinner.
I wish, but I need to finish this prezzo.
Oh, that's cool, I'll just take the kids. Okay, alright, bye. Thank you. What can I get?
Champagne soup?
Bring your family together.
What?
New Optus Family Plan includes 4 SIMs and the McAfee Safe Family app.
Steel Blue Oval is our venue, a historic ground down here in Bassendean, and the match between Subiaco and Swan Districts is at half-time. There's been a correction on the scoreboard as well. 3-6-24 is the score for Subiaco, leading Swans 2-3-15. 9 points is the lead to the visitors. Dave Lindsay, Clint Tegebrot and Cara Antonio, your commentary team here this afternoon. 2 goals to Dowrick for Subi and 1 to Buckley, while for Swans, Wheelstrut and Morrison are their goal kickers. Plenty of fans still inside the ground. The men's game was held earlier. And the feature game today is the Waffle Women's Round 3 clash between these two sides, which met in the prelim final last year. On that occasion, it was a big win to Swan Districts. They won by 45 points to march into the grand final and end Subiaco's season after the Lions had already been beaten in the second semi. Some of the highlights from the second quarter, and Juddy, it was a fascinating quarter, just a goal either way. And Subiaco, probably halfway through that term, looked as though they were about to charge away with the game, but Swans have really hung in there and they're still well and truly within touch.
They have, yeah. Swan should be, happy with the effort, happy with the scoreboard. Again, probably just need better shape around the contest, getting their hands on it first. But Subiaco, you can tell, have got the experience of your Rhodes and your Devlins and your Tia Haynes on the outside, and are able to hit up targets. I think that's been the difference, the cleanness of skills and being able to link up the ball to hit someone inside forward 50. So, yeah, I mean, Swan District should be happy with the effort. Subi, no doubt, would be disappointed, probably wanting to hit the scoreboard a little bit more with the amount of opportunities they've had.
Deggers, put yourself in the Swans coach's position at the moment. What moves are you making to start the third quarter? How are you going to get your team in front by three-quarter time? I
really like what Jodie said there about shape, because just towards the last bit of that quarter, they started to shape the ball. Now, Swans have got the back feet. They run, they refer to it as running their patterns. They still do that. Nicole Graves set that up a few years ago with Greg Harding, and then Juddy took it to the next level, and it's been continued this season. So it's really nice when they actually run their patterns, because it creates a really good shape around the ball. So now that they're back feeding, so they need to make sure that they take those aggressive positions as defenders. They need to shape that ball through the centre of the ground to find some free space, because when they're free, they can run and carry and use the ball really well. So as a coach, I'm saying our football is the back feed, and we want to find the free outside the contest, take some grass off the oppo. I don't worry so much about what Subi are doing, and worry more about how we should be playing. So I think we started to see that towards the end of that first half, and I think that's why Swans find themselves in the position where they're in touch.
You can see in the highlights a lot of one-on-one contests, both ground balls and in the air as well. Juddy, it's a feature of the women's game with the reduced number of players on the field. You do find yourself in that. It's the old coach's little one-on-one, roll the ball out, and the two of you had a crack at each other. Oh,
definitely, and especially on a ground this big at Steel Blue, it is a big ground, and when you can get the ball to space, it is exciting to see, players tuck the ball under their arm, have a run, which I'm hoping we see in the second half. We haven't seen too much of it, but if I was from Subiaco's end, I'd want to be running, the young, unexperienced Swan side off their legs by getting the ball to space, taking it under the arm and kicking it inside 50 and hitting the scoreboard.
Bit of run and carry on our highlights at the moment. Young Tara Stribley sending the ball forward and earning a side a kick at goal through Hayley Cole when the free kick was given. It's great to see a very young player out there in Tara Stribley, bright future ahead of her. Another group of players that do have a bright future is the South Fremantle group, and as most Waffle Women's fans would already know, the Bulldogs side has been added to the competition this season, adding to what is a huge year for the club as it celebrates its 120th birthday. Now let's take a look at a terrific video highlighting the commitment, love and passion so many people have for the Bulldogs.
In 2020, the South Fremantle Football Club is 120 years old, established in 1900. So this year's a significant year and a milestone year that we're all really keen to celebrate.
And 120 years is the catalyst to just get so many people all together and have 5 minutes just to look back on what has been achieved over that 120 years.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't change from here. I wouldn't change anyhow, and I couldn't.
My kids say it's my second home. Well, it is, because I love it so much.
There's no other club like South Fremantle, even though I married a East Fremantle chap, but it didn't take him long to change.
A lot of footy clubs are similar once you get inside, but, coming into South Fremantle, the people are probably, well, they are the strength. That's why we want to be involved. So loved every minute of it.
The people here are just so caring and so welcoming, and it makes you feel so comfortable being away from home.
So the whole social aspect, it was almost like a whole other family at the footy club that you could just feel comfortable around and have fun with.
My family is actually a big supporter of South Fremantle, so I remember coming down here when I was younger and watching the boys play, and my dad just taking me down since I was little. So it's a club I love, so it's the club I support, and I want to play for them as well.
So whoever is invested in the footy club is part of one big family, and they support each other and cheer when we win, but more importantly I think they're always around us when things don't go well.
Even though I'd never been here, it was a sort of homecoming in a way that my dad was here and made such a name and left such a good impression on people that, there's already been people that I've met and they've told me stories about my dad.
The great thing about the Rioli family is not only their obvious football ability, they're just such good people, and they've contributed to the club in many, many ways.
They were lovely, really lovely, and it was great to watch them play football.
As a relative newcomer to the football club, I've just been effectively overwhelmed by some of the names of players who have donned the famous Red V here at South Fremantle.
I've got a book at home which was presented to me by Brian Sikatosko, former CEO, and all that goes back from the start when the club first started, and just reading all that memorabilia in there, it's fantastic.
I think being able to feel a part of a club that's not just women has been, just such an amazing feeling, and we just feel so accepted by the club.
Our opportunities arise to come in to play the WAFL League, and that's a big challenge for the girls, and we're looking forward to grabbing the opportunity.
We're lucky to be a part of it in the 120th year, and we'll do everything we can to make it a successful year on field as well.
We can't wait to finally start our 120th season, and we'll see you at the football.
So the 120th anniversary of the South Fremantle Football Club, and obviously, as it has been for so many people around the world really, but 2020 hasn't quite gone the way that South would have planned, but certainly the addition of the women's team has been a fantastic addition, and they will only get better as things go on. The weather forecast, Eggs, you're all over the weather, so I'm going to leave this to you. I know you study it and you watch all the weather readers at night. I think you flick between channels, don't you?
Just to watch the weather.
Yeah.
I experience lots of weather too in my life. Front Row Screens sponsoring the weather. So it's nice out there today. It's 19 degrees, which is a great time for footy. It's a dry deck and it's going to get chilly again. Certainly was chilly this morning. Be chilly again overnight. But it's a nice fast deck today. It's an interesting game. The players are out there experiencing weather as are we right now, and some nice weather at that. 30 seconds to a break, so we've got a bit of a question for you, Juddy, and we've got to get this done in 30 seconds. If I was to show you the leading goal kickers in the WAFLW, can you point at a player there that you're surprised to see in the leading goal kicker list?
To be honest. Oh, yeah, right. Okay. Is that who you want me to throw on the bus? Fiona Boucher.
228-game veteran at fullback.
Yeah, look, I when I was coaching her, I threw her forward a few times, but she didn't last too long down there. So for me, I love seeing her back. She's a solid backliner, but
she's second on the goal kicker list.
She is second on the goal. So I'll probably eat my own words here and cop a text from her after the game as well.
That'd be nice. Just get
good
some
to see her
contact
still
with
running
her,
around.
Well, let's see in the second half if she can hit the scoreboard. She hasn't raised the goal umpire's flags just yet today, but there's still half a game to go, and she does have the socks pulled right up to the knees. So if she gets a chance, I reckon she'll nail one. It's half time here at Subiaco by 9 points. Back with the second half shortly.
The V6 twin turbo rear wheel drive Kia Stinger. It took 7 years to create and 4.9 seconds to understand why.
Dad!
Sorry.
this way.
It's funny.
Dad.
Party purpose.
Bring your family together. Introducing Optus Family Plan with 4 SIMs and 250 gigs of data to share.
If you need it live streamed, you need Front Row Screens. Visit frontrowscreens.com.au.
Just about ready to start the third quarter here between Swan Districts and Subiaco. Well, Swans are just about ready. They're going through their warm-ups at the moment. The Lions are yet to be sighted. They haven't returned to the field, I should say, from the change rooms at half-time. They lead by 9 points, Subiaco, 3-6 to 2-3. Dave Lindsay, Clint Degerot and Cara Antonio, your commentary team this afternoon. And Juddy, probably a good time to move into AFLW and have a bit of a chat about what's going on at the moment in the AFLW space. Obviously, the season last year didn't end the way that anyone would have wanted it to do, especially the Dockers, who were sitting pretty and moving into a preliminary final when COVID struck and the season was shut down. What's been the news at Fremantle since then? I know we're about to move into the signing period at this stage.
Yeah, it was a pretty quiet few months for us. I mean, for anyone that knows me, and Degs knows me pretty well, I was, as soon as COVID hit and our season got cancelled, I was on the phone to a couple of mates to hire some gym equipment and set up my own little gym out the back because I would have gone absolutely insane.
Grew some broccoli in the backyard.
I'm a bit of a gym junkie, so I kept myself pretty fit with obviously my wife, Ebony, as well. So the two of us have kept each other company, but it's been good. We've started back an academy as of last week, so had a couple of runs this week. It's just nice to be around the girls again after, obviously, what happened. You know, it is what it is. It doesn't make it any easier, but I think to have a bit of a run around with each other and have a kick, ready to, I suppose, build up to what will be a pretty big 2021 season, is it pretty exciting. So I'm looking forward to that.
I understand as well, everything was pretty bizarre when it all finished, but the Best and Fairest Awards obviously weren't held straight away. They were held a few months later at Dale Alcock's home, and only part of the home. It's that big that you're only sort of allocated a little area, and that was still big enough.
Yeah, well, we had a discussion as a leadership group if we wanted to do it over Zoom and do that virtual Best and Fairest, and as a group we kind of wanted to just wait it out. If we'd waited 2 months, what's another 4 weeks to wait? So we waited obviously to get the group together and have a few drinks and enjoy each other's company, and I suppose put that season to bed and to start fresh, ready to go for 2021. But his house is absolutely amazing, and yeah, we're in the lounge room and kitchen area, which is huge, and yeah, catered food and a few drinks, and more than anything just to catch up with, to see how everyone's tracking and to see what they got up to through the isolation COVID-19 situation. So it was good to see everyone again.
Good clean fun too, I hear. One of my favourite, I know that it didn't stay, the whole party didn't stay at Dale Alcock's place, but we'll just leave that aside. One of my favourite players is back today, a teammate of yours too, Alex Williams.
Yes, yeah, so big shout out to Willow. She's obviously coming back from an ACL reconstruction that she did a couple of seasons ago against Geelong down at GMHBA Stadium, so absolutely pumped for her. They take on Peel Thunder later on today, so no doubt she's been flooded with messages, but on behalf of me and the team, Willow, good luck, and you'll get through. You've done all the hard work. So really looking forward to seeing how she goes and seeing her next week, debriefing.
One of my favourite things that happens when you get State Academy players playing on each other, it's Stribley and Maggie McLaughlin, Tara Stribley and Maggie McLaughlin, having a push and shove and some elbowing, and then smiling and having a little hug and then assuming their positions prior to the bounce. So just a bit of fun from a couple of young players.
So the third quarter here at Steel Blue. Subiaco starting the term 9 points ahead of Swan Districts, looking to maintain their perfect record at the start of this season. Good tackle here from Blackmore holds things up, and we'll see a secondary bounce, as I think we have at the start of every quarter. Teams have found it hard to burst out of this centre contest. Second attempt Little hand pass from Cox. She was thrown to ground after getting rid of the hand pass. Haynes is putting the pressure on, but it comes out towards Webb. The umpire said it came out illegally. The hand pass of Brianna Hyde was called a throw. And the free kick will go the way of Haynes. Wants to switch play to Blackmore. Takes the mark on the wing. That kick intercepted. Maguire read that one like an open book. She left her opponent early and charged at the football. Certainly one of the strengths of her game. The other strength, the kicking. And she puts it into space in front of Boucher. Here is that fullback who's been playing deep forward, but Harkin's done well to close her down so far today and also in that contest as well. Cox ends up over the line and a boundary thrown right in front of the Subiaco coach, Amy Lavelle, down there.
I would have loved to have seen Maguire take the game on there. She had plenty of time and space, take ground and get the ball inside 50 really quickly. It would have been exciting to see.
Skinneri taps the ball down to Miller, who's ripped off the football by Cox. The tackling pressure was a feature of her game last week. Blackmore tumbles the ball forward only as far as Grundon. Grundon just takes a breath, and it was a good decision, although Bree Hyde now has got a running Devlin coming the other way. It's Bree Hyde with the footy eventually. She's held without the ball after she dropped it on the ground and toe poked it away. She steps inside her defender and kicks the ball shallow again. Shallow entries have been a bit of a killer for the Swans. She tries to kick that to 50 to Michaela Morrison, but it's Harkin who's been resolute this season in defence. Neat little kick is going to see them try to travel down this wing. Maguire's read it again. Tumble kick ends up back with Harkin. Bit of pressure from Webb. She flips the ball to Miller. Why not? Give it to Hayley Miller if she's on anywhere around the ground. Good
Need
coaching
to look inside
instruction.
here.
Cox does look inside. Amy Ralph's really opened the game up. Cox just goes short.
Nice.
It's in the hands of Grundon, and that'll work. Good decision maker. Grundon tumbles the ball again. Not as deep as she intended. Michaela Morrison stays down. Stribley's trying to get a run at it. She's tackled off the football by Miller. Welcome to league footy, says Hayley Miller. She's done for holding the ball. Now, if you can take that tackle as a young player, it's about as strong as they come. Miller, no beg your pardons. She's a physical player. Her timing is beautiful too. Meanwhile, Piscaneri hands it down to Darrick. Darrick bites off a little more than Devlin can chew, and Hayley Cole can now send the Swans forward again. This is a third entry, so building some pressure on the lines. The lines through Miller, and Miller gets a little tug on the arm, a little tug on the shoulder. No, it's not Miller, it's Cuthbertson behind the footy. Just infringed upon as she tried to get to that marking contest. Long ball looking for Darrick. She's got the run of it, Darrick. Doesn't even quite get a finger on it in the end. Falls into the path of Haynes, or is that Toth down there? It is Jackie Toth. And another free kick. This time to Maguire. Young Olivia Cripps feeds that to her. She goes inside to Jess Cox again. The other side of the ground is now available. Cox sees Hyde. It's a good ball in, and it's going to open the game up now. Bree's just trying to step around her opponent here. That's Bree Hyde. Long to Welstra. Doesn't quite get there. And that looked like an intentional falcon or a header.
And put the hand up
ball
after.
Ball is put by Miller into the path of a runner. She can keep running. She can have 4 or 5 bounces here, although she doesn't quite get the second bounce or first bounce to come back to her. Brings Cripps into the game. Good tackle pressure from the Subiaco lines. And what could have been a sensational running goal has ended up being a holding the ball decision to Jackie Toth on Olivia Cripps inside 15. Too far out for Toth. Hands it off to Miller. It's not too far for Miller. And she gets a flying kick. This one doesn't spin backwards. It doesn't need to, but it hits the fingers and spills. The back feed is going to bring the Swan Districts Footy Club into it. So Miller, in a live game, didn't quite strike the ball as well as she had with the kick that was denied. The other side over there too. Interesting to claim you don't have the football while it's being tackled to you. Devlin on the intercept. Some messy football at the moment. Ball's going into Maguire. Gets over the back. It's a dangerous ball here for the Lions. They're lurking with intent. The tackle pressure from Swans is good enough to hold them up for now. Can they find an outlet? They're tackled over the line on the very far side of the ground. And the ball will be thrown in.
I reckon the Subi players will be going back to that header from Piscaneri. She might be Timmy Cahill by the end of the week, because that was a genuine header. Almost had a bit of forward motion with the head and took it on the forehead.
Looked like Drax the Destroyer.
At the throw in, Darrick opposed to Ralph. Here's Haynes. She's dragged to ground by Cox, and Cox looked at the umpire and said, I reckon that should be a free kick, and the umpire agreed. Anderson wants to play into advantage. Runs a full measure and then kicks long to the wing. Hyde Good contest there. Knocked to ground. Couldn't take the mark. Piscaneri this time at ground level. Tries to feed it up to McLaughlin. Goes a second time from the deck. Now McLaughlin becomes the tackler. The umpire watches on and will ball it up. So no score so far in this third quarter. Both teams have had some promising build-ups, but just the odd fumble or just a foot pass that went astray has cost both teams. Piscaneri fighting on here with a strong tackle on Davidson. Now out to Webb. Under pressure from Roach. Pushes off a kick. Webb goes up for a second time and now she's caught. And Subiaco have the numbers when the ball spills to ground. Chance for Brown. She had her chance to kick a goal earlier but couldn't quite get the bounce right. Now has players streaming towards goal. That kick lacks some penetration. Osborne juggles, reads it well. Jodie, she's been a very good player across half-back for a long time for this club.
She has. She stands up week in, week out. Great set of hands on her and really good at making strong decisions. I like this ball movement a lot better from Swans here.
It sounds like it might have happened at half-time. Coach Joe Taylor saying, play our football. Ball tumbling towards the middle of the ground for Swans as they try to repel a Subiaco attack. But another one's coming. This time it's Cripps, and Cripps cops one in a floating rib from Abby Dowrick. Is there anyone that likes tackling and body contact more than Abby Dowrick? Maybe Hayley Miller as she flies for this ball, puts the ball down in front of herself. Did intend to run on, I think, but Webb was up to the challenge. Teammates at Fremantle Football Club, of course, and there'll be no beg your pardons between those two. The ball just spills over the line underneath the commentary box. Get a reset. Players have been really close at these stoppages, haven't given each other too much room. Swans look to own the corridor and behind the play. Thomas tries to go through. She's smothered by Cox, picked up by Michaela Hyde. Cox again, worried by two players there. One of those is Golisano. And Golisano takes her to the ground for another ball up. Pineri to Haynes. Can't quite find the handle. Back feed's good. It's in the hands of Golisano. Handball's over the top to Piscaneri. Task of tackling. Piscaneri goes to Grundon now. I think she did nick that just a little bit long. Sinead Davison takes the quick play on. Hits Cole on the chest. Cole has to wait a little bit as the leads turn and come back at her. The long ball over the top. So Okada well stretched. She had the run of it, but she just fumbled at the last minute. She's tackled and loses control of the football, and the cavalry can now arrive for Subiaco. The battle is inside 50 for Swans. It's Harkin again. She just turns and calms the whole place down, and she strikes the ball beautifully. And it's now in the hands of the Subiaco defenders.
Commentary side again. Road, ball goes through her hands. Dowrick at the back in best position. Confronted by Morrison. Did well. Happy to ride at the tackle and then hand pass to Haynes, who puts it into space at half forward. Chase is on. Toth close to the line. It's come off the toe. How will the umpire see this? The lasso move is in action, but I'm not sure anyone knows which way it's going to go. There'll be a bit of a chat between the field umpire and the boundary umpire.
It seemed to come off Toth, but Toth was the one that asked for the free kick.
He did. So Gelmy will get it instead in the end. I'm not sure anyone was 100% sure there. Boundary throw-in might have been the better decision in the end. But Gelmy will kick back to the pack. Davison in the middle of that pack, and she's happy to stand there, take the treatment and take the mark. Her judgment in the air is excellent. We saw that last week with the big hang that she took, but she's taken a couple in the middle of packs today. Kick down the line, a little untidy off the boot, very close to the boundary. Big leap from behind. Will that one be paid? It will. Just inside the boundary, Courtney Lindgren. First action I reckon we've seen her involved in today, and that's a fine mark. Not a bad way to announce yourself to this game. The kick to an area that's packed with Lions, although Michaela Hyde wins the football, puts a hand pass out into space, follows it up and then fumbles it over. And a boundary throw-in just near that McDonald stand.
That lasso rule is the one as a player that I'm still a bit funny with. I think we had this conversation. I'm lucky enough to be on the AFLW comp committee, and we had this discussion earlier in the week. I think unless it's a clear disposal over the boundary line, I think the best thing is to throw it back in.
The accidental little soccer kick that no one really could tell.
Yep.
I like last possession rule. I think if it's a kick or a handball, if it's in this, I think the commentators cause it some problems too because they call it last touch all the time, and it's not last touch, it's last possession. Krasowski going forward, called to play on, goes long. Swans have the box seat, and it's McLaughlin who's found her feet in this game. And she has found the pace, and she is starting to think really well. The kick is good. Demands a little bit of Jess Ritchie, but she's good enough under pressure from Tara Stribley. Ritchie, bit of a swing player at Subi, front and back, and through the ruck. Ball in dispute. It's with Michaela Hyde, who chops the ball nicely forward. A little fist on this one from Grundon to deny an intercept mark to Subi.
It's just looking at the two runners down there, Ash Sharp and also Ange Stannett, just side by side for a little while there. I'm not sure whether we'll get Juddy in the pink strip later on. We'd rather keep her up here, Degs, but she was saying how fit she is.
Yep, she's. I think Juddy likes to use the Garmin to do her running, and she doesn't like to necessarily hear someone else tell her when she needs to do a 400.
Saw Gucci in the pink strip a couple of weeks ago as well.
Actually, who was with her too? There was two Fremantle players in the strips.
I think Ash Atkins was doing it as well, wasn't she?
It was, sorry. Yeah. A Freo and a West Coaster running for East Fremantle. As the ball gets over the boundary line on the full, in the genuine sense. The rule that's been around for quite some time. It's Anderson. Neat little kick forward. Is it good enough to Webb? Webb now, not much ahead of this, just lots of contact and combat players. It's Wellstra, but at the back's Devlin. She can't quite hold the mark. Grundon tries to come through. It's in the hands of Hyde. She'd do well to hold this in, I think. And get a reset at the top of 50. Just a little, maybe a bit of fatigue creeping in for some of the players. Jessica Ritchie and Grisiowski go at it. Sorry, it's not Tia Haynes, it's Kia Buckley. Tackled before she had it. And then swamped. Restart in the same spot. Youth around this ball. Ritchie again. Tries to flick it over to Buckley. Hyde in the way. Stribley. Can't quite get to it because it's Haynes. Haynes looking for Blackburn. Blackburn just a little touch on the shoulder of Nora Anderson as she tried to track the football, and Nora Anderson gets a chance to do it all again. Pete entry again, and similar result. That's straight to Devlin. This time Devlin can hold, and she can throw play to the far side of the ground. She's looking for Thomas. Thomas is a neat catch, and she takes this nicely out in front of her face. She looks to build now. Good decision maker. Again, 16-year-old player. Bites off a heap there, and it's good enough too, and it's Buckley. Buckley's neat overhead. Subiaco just need to flood forward because Emily Maguire owns the length of this ground and has the ball neatly in her hands. Subiaco just moving the ball a bit quicker than they were able to rebound.
Haven't seen a score yet in this third quarter. The ball just bouncing from half-back line to half-back line. Swans with a promising build-up here. Boucher has it on the wing, right beneath our broadcast position. Socks pulled up, as we mentioned before. Playing in an customary position so far this season. Kicks to an area, again, that has extra numbers in the maroon and gold jumpers. Cuthbertson takes it, kicks inside but misses the target. Still a chance for Devlin to mop things up. She paddles to McLaughlin, who kicks with the non-preferred but uses it okay. Boucher puts the knee into the back of her opponent. Here's Haynes. Sidestep was good on Ralph. And now she can open things up, although her kicks cleared the target in Ritchie. And getting back is Maguire yet again across half-back. Wants to come back down the boundary line. She's gone very wide, too wide. Out of bounds on the full, just in front of Hyde. And we'll see the ball come back into play for the Lions. It's just beneath our broadcast position. Can't quite see exactly who's got it. Just on the screen now, Blackmore coming back into the picture. Will take the free kick. She lobs it high towards half forward. Haynes back with the flight. Osborne for the black and whites. Gets a toe to the footy. Ball in dispute. Webb just lurking. Get a fingertip onto that one. Maguire standing up in the tackle from Dowrick and then eventually brought to ground. And we'll see a ball up. Juddy, I think we saw this at this time of the year last year when the AFLW players come back. They're obviously a little bit underdone, so they don't dominate the game as much as what teams might expect. But the young players seem to really enjoy it, that opportunity to play with people like Miller. We'll get you to talk about it in just a moment because Miller's put this one in deep. Ritchie's there. Nice little feed off, but the snap is going just wide from Pinar. And it's through for a behind. But it's a great opportunity, Juddy, for these young players to mix it and actually really stand up against the AFLW players early in the season before that fitness and touch really kicks in.
Oh, definitely. It's obviously nice to see a few of my teammates back in for Fremantle. But you can tell that the young kids actually thrive off it and they blossom having those players back. So, yeah, a few rusty little things that probably will take a few weeks to get out of. But, look, they'll be better for the run. The likes of Miller getting back into it, and Cuthbertson and the players like Lyndall Road even, just to get more hands on the footy and more experience, even at this level, will be better for them in the long run.
But guess who was applying the tackle at half forward for the Lions through that little passage of play? It'd be Darrick. Piscaneri with the back feed. Called a throw. Michaela Morrison starting to get in and around this contest. Might have been moved into the midfield by the looks. Another highly skilled player looking for Boucher. Boucher has taken it over the boundary line. Touched off the boot, I think, was the call. So when she took the mark and went back behind, when she took what she thought was a mark and went behind, she took it out of bounds. Right underneath us. Can't see too much. I do like the ball coming in 10 metres, Juddy.
I love it.
Sets up attacking play through the corridor. Both teams now just a little, I guess, wrestling for ascendancy in this game. Well struck. Piscaneri, clear tap winner. Bit tough for Miller. Did come down hard. Miller is getting the free kick. Player she tackled is wearing a lot less equipment now than before the tackle. It's Morrison towards Buckley. Does enough to worry Amy Ralph. Amy Ralph gets sick of that and shoves her out of the way. That's an interesting handball. And then an interesting kick. One that used no hands and one was off the knee. Just turned in the tackle. Umpire's called a little dangerous. It's Ralph. Chops the ball out there to Holwell. We think it's Holwell. Name of the sheet is 28. Wearing jumper number 26. It's Jess Cox. She has a little bit of a run with the football. Usually a good user. She's waiting for something to become obvious. It's Boucher that comes at her and does a neat catch. Sticks in the fingers. Too far to score. Streaming back's Anderson. Anderson's pretty slippery and highly skilled, so she could turn inside here and do something interesting. She does pop the ball over to Stribley. Doesn't have enough on it. Little clip of the Subiaco player is a little worse for wear after that little collision. Naira Anderson could just about do anything in those situations.
I think that's Hayley Miller cramping already in the third, is it?
She's done some work.
She has.
First game for a number of AFLW players out there today. Buckley in the tackle.
One of the more useless things you could say, I reckon, is, "G'day, Hayley Miller. Have some fun today. Take it easy." No way.
Thrown in the air. Piscaneri down to Buckley again. Tackled by Cox this time. Golisano's been wrapped up. That's a good tackle by Webb. Umpire called play on. Subi able to clear, and they'll get a relayed free kick. The player who disposed of the footy was then knocked over. So Haynes will get the kick at half back. There's three little one-on-ones ahead of the ball. So she kicks as far as she can. Back with the flight. Thorogood couldn't take it. Nanit coming in the opposite direction does nicely. Hand pass away to Osborne, who tumbles it towards centre half forward. Tough footy to be won right here. But it's Subiaco who are clean. Cuthbertson, little inside-out torpedo. Didn't quite strike it well. Here's Nanit sending it back the opposite direction. Straight back to Cuthbertson. Clean around the ankle area there. The pickup was good and the kick into space for Pinar. Should be able to run onto this. Has Cripps coming up to block her path. So she handballs to the ground and then soccers forward. Haynes is there. Could this be the first goal of the quarter? It's a nice build-up here from Subi. Kick over the top. Toth has a bit of space if the ball sits for her. In comes Davison, knocks her over, then dives on the football. Toth applies the tackle. Umpire has to penalise her just as the ball was about to come out. But it has to be holding the ball. Davison doesn't like it, but that's the one that's on the DVD. If you dive on the footy and you can't get it out, you're going to be penalised. So Toth will have a shot for goal.
Even if you do dive on the player and grab her by the head.
That's right. You can do pretty much whatever you like once that player dives on the football. So it's taken a long time. We haven't seen a goal in this third quarter. We've only seen the one behind. So chance here for Toth.
Fierce combat player, Toth.
So you're not backing it? There's no more houses on the market for anyone in the commentary box to
I'm
put on the
homeless
line?
at the moment, so...
It's a left footer. It wasn't struck well. It wobbles, but it goes straight. So the goal has been kicked, and Subiaco stretched their lead just before the three-quarter time siren. And that's a bit of a dagger blow for Swan Districts because they had hung in the contest. They were setting it up for a big final quarter. But now Subiaco are more than double their score. And in these low-scoring games, Juddy, you can't afford to slip too far behind.
No, you can't. I mean, you can see Sinead Davidson there, who made the contest down at the top of the goal square, is actually playing as a midfielder. So the work rate from her, I thought, was really, really good. Obviously, backliners have... The Swan District's backliners had pushed a little bit too high up the ground, and the ball got out the back. But the work rate from Sinead Davidson, unfortunately, as you said, if you dive on the footy, yeah, you're not gonna get out of that one.
Well struck to herself. Couldn't quite get the kick away. The pressure was good from Subiaco. I don't think we've had a centre bounce where we've only had one. So we're going to do a couple as the siren sounds. Now, an interesting quarter, and I think you caught it really well, Reg. Swan Districts pressed and probably just cost themselves a little bit at the end with that score and made the last quarter very difficult for themselves.
For the contest, we probably didn't need that goal just before three-quarter time. Subiaco with a handy break of 16 points now at three-quarter time. 2 to Dowrick, 1 to Buckley, and that goal to Toth just before the siren. Wheelstra and Morrison with goals before half-time for Swan District. So 1 quarter to play. A lot of work to be done by the Black and Whites. They trail by 16 points here at three-quarter time at Steel Blue Oval. The Lions heading into their huddle to hear the messages from Amy Lavelle at three-quarter time. But we'll be back with a big final term here on your live stream. The Lions up by 16.
The V6 twin-turbo rear-wheel drive Kia Stinger. It took 7 years to create and 4.9 seconds to understand why.
Dad!
Oh, sorry.
This way.
It's funny.
Dad!
Party purpose.
Shh. Bring your family together. Introducing Optus Family Plan with 4 SIMs and 250 gigs of data to share.
If you need it live streamed, you need Front Row Screens. Visit frontrowscreens.com.au.
It's three-quarter time in the WAFLW round 3. Swan District's taking on Subiaco at Steel Blue Oval. And there are the Black and Whites. They're trailing by 16 points at three-quarter time. 2-3-15 to 4-7-31. Dave Lindsay, Clint Degebrot and Cara Antonio in commentary this afternoon. A couple of other games taking place in the WAFLW today as well. And the ladder at the moment has Subiaco sitting on top. And at this stage, it looks as though they're going to remain unbeaten 3 out of 3 in the first 3 rounds in what's going to be a pretty short season. Just the 7 rounds of WAFLW this year. So if you're sitting at 3-3 after round 3, then you're in a pretty good position to be making the top 4 in a 6-team competition. Some of the highlights from the third quarter. There wasn't a lot of highlights in terms of shooting for goal, but a lot of good contests as we've seen throughout the day, and still some good foot skills on show, Juddy. Some nice connection, probably more so from Subiaco, but Swans have also managed to improve the way they've used the ball throughout the afternoon as well.
Oh, definitely. There's some young Thomas from Subiaco. Her skills, first time obviously I've come down and watched either team. So to see the young kids, and she's caught my eye definitely, young Thomas from Subiaco, the way that she was able to direct play off that half back and cut the ball back inside, and Subiaco almost got the one out the back, but the coach killer taking a bounce and then fumbling it, were unable to capitalise. But yeah, really, I've been really impressed with some of the young kids from both sides, but definitely I think Subiaco just, the end finish and their polish on their skills has been obviously a little bit more impressive and has capitalised on that scoreboard as well.
Deggers, speaking of the young kids, you've had a fair bit to do with probably, if not half of each of these two sides, then probably 3/4 of these two sides. It might make you feel pretty proud looking at the way a number of these players have adapted to WAFLW League footy.
Yeah, not owning any of their ability, of course, but I like the fact that you can sort of give these kids an opportunity if they want to take it to get as good as they can. Really well supported by the WAFLW competition now. And of course, you talked about it earlier, both you and Juddy talked about it earlier, the ability for Charlie Thomas to come into this team and then play with Hayley Miller is invaluable, and it just continues to show them where you need to get to with your football. And of course, at the moment, our National Academy players are actually training with both of the AFLW clubs. So we've got the girls get much of a clearer look about what they need to do and what success looks and feels and and looks and feels like. And I'm super impressed. And you sit here, and I love it when the players you're working with match up on each other. I love it when they can execute. I'm really happy with Maggie McLaughlin, whose pathway to this game has been really hard work. She's changed clubs, she's taken opportunities, she's had to change the way she thinks about herself, and it's a credit to her and Subiaco and her parents and her support group that to get her here, and then to see her play and then just take intercept marks and release the ball by foot. You know, you're so proud of her, not yourself. So
she did tell me back in about February that she wanted me to commentate her this year, so that's a little tick for her. She's ticked that one off the list. There's not many people that have ever come up to me and said, I'm really looking forward to you commentating me. That's not normally how it works. But
well, maybe there will be a Teddy in your likeness. A ex-teaching sports administrator Teddy.
Part-time commentating.
Plush
Teddy
toy.
Bear. Start of the last quarter, 16 points the difference. Subiaco have control play for most of the day. They haven't put Swans away though. And Swans would love an early goal here to really spice things up. And they will go forward first, holding the ball, free kick and advantage. Stribley wants to take it on for Swans, sends them inside 50. Morrison blocks the footy, does well to keep it in front. Boucher a little hand pass out, and that's as far as it'll go. Trying to break her way through was Grundon, but she was well tackled. Promising build-up from Swans.
Just the one bounce required too to start the
Yeah, we got away this time. At the ball up, Piscaneri palms it down, trying to soccer it off the deck was Devlin. Piscaneri gets the footy back and then clears the area. Foot race on. Brianna Hyde leads. A little paddle to control and then a nice sidestep. Draws the player. Hand passes to her sister. Then looks for someone to shepherd as well. The kick goes inside 50. It wasn't pretty off the boot. Morrison almost got to it. Davison with some pressure on the attacking 50. Here's Morrison. Nice one-handed pick up. And then runs straight into a tackle. Golisano had her. And that was a quick whistle. Holding the ball. Golisano with the free kick and she wants to spread it wide. Piscaneri has made some space. Can't mark but has time to set things up for the Lions.
Neat work there by Morrison. You could see what she was trying to do. Good defence from Subiaco. The ball with Harkin. She just stops and kicks it to Lauren Osborne, who can't quite finish the positional work that she'd get. Emily Maguire steps inside. Loves that right foot. Gets some good distance. It's a shallow entry again, though. Looks like Grasowski. Not in the ruck this quarter. Use it as a forward. And there's a long-term wrestle. This whistle not as quick as the whistle that trapped Michaela Morrison holding the ball, and eventually we'll get a restart. Now, this quarter starting very similarly to much of the last quarter, where it looks to be a little wrestle for ascendancy, a little flexing of the muscle. Swans that look energetic. Subiaco with the answers in the short period of this quarter so far. In front of us now with Maguire. Maguire goes long. That's a deeper entry. Gives a bit of a chance for Morrison. Standing strong in front was McLaughlin. In the hands of Boucher. Can't get the kick away. Refuses to go to ground. Hayley Cole is done for holding the ball. Inside forward 50. Devlin. It's a nice kick out wide. Just a little bit. Shows a little bit of it to Gelmy. Who does enough. Some blocking work behind the football from Stribley. Stribley was doing the support work. Gelmy handed to the ball. Now it's with Webb. Trying to get a connection to Grasowski. And the ball run out of bounds on the far side of the ground in front of Grasowski. So that's off the foot. And it will be a kick in to Subiaco.
Jamie Harkin goes and retrieves the footy. Playing more in defence this year than in the midfield. Has the Sun contend with here as well, with the ground running pretty much east-west. Kick down the line. Off hands. Davison and Michaela Hyde both had a crack at that one. Lyndall Rowe tracking the footy. Good little hand pass. Sets it up nicely for Birchall. And Subiaco can break across halfway. Miller with a little paddle. Has Ralph every step of the way with her. So the soccer kick gets them inside 50. Ralph now knocking it to her advantage. Eventually picks it up cleanly. Drops the footy in the tackle. That allows Darrick in. Dangerous position. Subiaco should score and they kick the goal through Darrick. Not the hands you want the football in if you're a Swan Districts defender when that ball spills free. And from about 40 metres out, Darrick was never in doubt. And they got the late goal, Juddy, just before three-quarter time to really hurt. And now Darrick's third goal early in the last has pretty much put this one beyond Swans.
Yeah, I like that matchup down there, Ralph v. Miller. Ralph is knowing her for the last probably 3 or 4 years and coaching and playing with her. She's really quick. She's deceivingly quick. And if anyone knows, Hayley Miller is probably at the quickest down at the Fremantle Dockers. So for Ralph there to be able to run with her, obviously wasn't clean enough to get ball to boot. And obviously Subiaco capitalising through Darrick. Really nice finish from about 35-40 out.
Young lady there looking to make her entry into women's footy on the far side, but looks like she might just be 14 months old. Just have to wait a little while before you can pull on either of these jumpers. Mum was wearing an East Perth shirt, so she must have come Stribley. Intercepts this and goes for a run. Tries to drop it in front of Boucher. She's got Cuthbertson for company. It won't be an easy feat to get the ball off her, and the ball is out of bounds inside the forward 50, so we'll get a throw in. Reluctant this year, it seems, the boundary umpires to throw it to the top of the square. It is counterintuitive to what they're supposed to do. Come down to these female, or the WAFLW programs, and have to throw it just a bit straighter. It's not quite into the corridor from here. Well, not quite in the corridor for me here anyway. More of a traditional angle. Piscaneri's got front spot. She just touches it down to Harkin. Harkin's been good today, really solid at halfback. She's looking forward. Thorogood just into the back of Osborne, who had decent positioning and put a little pressure on her. So a couple of repeat 50 entries now for Swans, much the same as the third quarter. Long and high. Give the forwards a chance to jump. Where's Davison? It's Cuthbertson in front. Nice catch.
So Cuthbertson spent a bit of time forward, early in the first and early in the second, but settling behind the ball, sharing those sort of key defensive posts with her workmate, Jamie Harkin. They worked together at Netball WA during the week. I saw them fighting over a footy. That'll come up on Monday morning at one point earlier today. But that was a nice mark, and Subi have switched play nicely out wide to the left and now back across towards right half back, and McLaughlin has it. She has Charlie Thomas breaking on the wing. It's a nice kick. And Thomas's kicking has been a feature of her game today. No doubt she'll let me down after this one. But no, she lobs it long. It's a good kick. Kicked it to the advantage of her teammate in Peanut. Couldn't quite take the mark. Nanit did enough in front. Little releasing hand pass from Golisano towards Devlin. Toe poke gains another couple of metres. Through comes Brown. Her kick was blocked. Davison there for Swans. Gathers in the right hand and then swings left. Wants to hook it across the body. Kicking to a one-on-one. Good little contest. Haynes did enough to spoil. Cox is there. Hand pass out in front of Osborne, who then hand passes straight to her opponent in Thomas. Osborne will always fight hard to make up for any error. She did well there. Cox has been run down. And we'll see a ball up again. Swans continue to battle on. They certainly haven't given away at any stage today. But they're just a little bit too far behind the Lions. 22 points is the deficit.
Some improvements in Jess Cox's game.
Definitely. And I worked one-on-one with her last year and had some pretty hard and honest conversations with her. So it's nice to see that she's worked her way into the midfield group here this season.
Fighting lots of pressure around the contest and providing almost playing the traditional centreman's role. She's tackling Kia Buckley here in the middle where they play through her. She links up, gets connected. Maguire stands strong behind the ball under pressure from Thorogood. Maguire just assessing her options. Really good ground coverage, and again, it's Birchall that just gets in the way of the vision of the opposition. Just makes it harder to make good decisions. Inside, outside from Devlin, lands with Michaela Hyde. Osborne's worked on the far side of the ground to get free. Come to the close side though, a little bit more shin than foot in the old foot to shin ratio on that kick as Road leads the race to the ball, and she'll be very happy to run that over because it'll allow Subiaco to set up for another forward thrust. Swans having enough of the ball, mostly in the middle of the ground rather than in the front half. Wysowski's been good. A couple of games I've watched her play. She's a competitor. She taps this ball down in front against Ritchie. Naira Anderson works to the front. And the back feed's okay to Hyde. Hyde's kick is intercepted really neatly again by Harkin. I've been super impressed with her back. I liked her as a midfield, but really working well as a back. Looks to Road. Not the rainbow connection, but certainly the netball connection. Lots of state league players and netball WA workers out there, and netball WA worker in the box too. Up here with us, trying to track that ball is Cuthbertson. She's dived upon by every Swan that can get into her, and we've got another little restart too.
I've really liked, as you mentioned, Degs, Harkin, just the way that she's been able to use her body and read the ball in flight, being able to chop off a lot of ball going inside Swan District's forward 50 today.
She's happy to leave a player, isn't she? She'll take it on and just reads it so well. And she's got good support. There's always someone to cover her player. Subiaco moving it well. The juggling act from Dowrick takes the mark and then takes on the tackler. Hand pass to Thomas. She'll be a little bit too clever. Gets herself into some space. Kicks half half a sideways kick there. It did set it up quite nicely in the end for Birchall towards half forward. Brown has it. She's got a player on. There's a player virtually in the goal square. They can't get it forward. Maguire intercepting and then switching play. Dangerous position. Big leap from Brianna Hyde. Did enough to bring it to ground. In fact, it works out nicely for Swans. Osborne combines with Webb and now Cox. She has some space. Forces her opponent to come at her so she can kick over the top to Cole. Gathers and then wants someone to lead towards her. She's directing traffic, but no one breaking into the area she wanted it to go. Support comes from Cox. She's dragged to ground. Ball now out into open space. Coming up to meet it. Little hand pass from Lindgren. Can't connect with the teammate. Webb fights on well. Used the body illegally, says the umpire. Some high contact. And it'll be Devlin to get the free kick. Subiaco have had all the answers down there in defence throughout today. Chance to set something up here again. Leanna Birchall with the kick into the middle. Attacking it hard again is Dowrick. Almost that juggling performance again. The runner coming past. Blackmore. Hand pass doesn't favour her. Forces her to run virtually in a full 360-degree circle. Then she was tackled without it. And that's a bit of a cheap free kick in the end given away by Brianna Hyde.
Blackmore, another one of Subi's connection players. Arkin again, steps inside. Fronted by Hyde, kicks okay. Webb has to go back, can't quite control it. This falls for Ritchie. Just tracking her as Webb. Maguire was sweating on that one. It's called in the back. So Ritchie was trying to pick the ball up. Bianca just carried her forward a little. Amassing numbers inside 50 now, but a slow plays allowed Swans to get back. Lead at the ball's okay from Thorogood, but taking a really nice mark over the back and winding the clock back a couple of years is Gelmy, and it's great to see her back on the footy park as well.
It is very good to see her back.
I want to mention Tia Haynes as well. Awesome. I'm so happy for her, and I'm so happy to be watching her play again. Terrific player. Dad was a pretty good player too in his day. Nearly a neat catch to McLaughlin. Read well was Davison. Davison trying a Trent Cooper style left foot kick using the right, which has really worked well for some of our young players that have had the fortunate or the fortune to work with Trent. Many of the Dockers using that right foot surge place of a left foot. I think it works terrifically. Grundon. Handball goes nowhere. Bianca Webb has got Charlie Thomas in her arms, and she is hugging the ball to her body. Get a restart. Break it open for us, Juddy.
Yeah, ball gets tapped out. Nice tackle on Morrison by Tia Haynes. Gets the handball out. Holwell. Nice little contest down there by Davison and Devlin. Drags. Umpires found a free kick, and it'll go the way of Morrison.
Well, we can go home, Diggs. She's got it all. Juddy's expert commentator and play-by-play commentator. I think we're done. She's sold a house, so she needs to
I need to get my house
double
back.
pay. Ball towards half forward now. Webb's really getting into the game the longer this is going. Doesn't mind a bit of body contact as well. She knocks an opponent over. Nice work there from Morrison. Strong tackle. Now we're back towards the middle of the ground. Cox has been very busy today and earns herself a free kick there. Hayley Miller's been a little bit frustrated at times.
I don't think Hayley's always happy with the umps.
Cox wants to switch. Goes into the middle of the ground.
Cox did make sure that was seen.
Yes, yes.
Seeing as I'm not playing, Hayley has to take my role over. I'm usually the one that cracks it, so it's good to see she's flying the flag out there.
I think have we got Hayley up in the commentary box in
we
a week or two as well?
In fact, in 2 weeks' time, I think we've got
Jodie, both of us, I think.
Oh, wow.
We've got Antonia and Miller in the box at the same time.
Fantastic.
I've been removed from that that team.
I reckon you'll be tuning into that just to listen to see what goes on. Harkin takes another intercept mark in defence. Wants to switch it to Rode. And Rode at half-back has a player over the top. And the kick goes towards Haynes, who can gather the bouncing footy and try to set something up for Subi again. Working our way towards full-time in this one. Miller couldn't mark. Dowrick provides very good support. And then a high kick over the top of Ritchie. It's 2-on-2 inside the attacking 50. Cripps is there, pushed off it by Ritchie. Then Cripps falls on top of Ritchie. How will the umpire see this? He'll ball it up.
Two players that don't mind a bit of a lip either. So they might get cheeky in the box. Antonio and Miller. Miller with the ball now. A couple of weeks' time in the commentary box, and she gets this one a little bit high and a little bit wide, and then it will be able to take the free kick in the back pocket. No movement whatsoever. No spread at all. been a hard running game. The players are now starting to show those signs of fatigue, so this is going to be a kick down the line. There's no other option. Long one in, Piscinieri. Maguire sets, flies with just the fist though to spoil Piscinieri. Ball's over the back, tracking its Road. Gelmy, and now Anderson. Smothered by Road, gives herself a chance. She's going to run into open goal, and she just gets a little bit too much left on that footy. Nice to see a winger explode like that inside 50. She had good field positioning. Nice smother. One of those ones that feels good because you've earned the goal yourself through your own 1%er.
As you mentioned before, Degs, I've really liked Tia Haynes' game, and it's been so good to see her back live in action. She's been riddled with injuries and dealt with a couple of knee injuries over the past 3 to 4 years. So it's nice to see her running around and putting herself in front of selectors and in a good position to hopefully get back on an AFLW list.
That was Nanette, who gave it across to, who was that player that ran with the football then? It was a neat kick to, it was Cripps, wasn't it? It was Cripps to Cox. So Cox playing that centre role. Connection. Ball is fallen over to the far side of the ground now, though. A couple of players last to pick themselves up. It's Cuthbertson and Hyde. Cuthbertson seems to have worked really well through the COVID period. She built a terrific body for AFLW. Looks $1 million. No guesses that no one would look at her and say you're a tennis player. Really liked her season too, just on Cuthbertson. Injury interrupted lead in.
Yeah, I mean, she plays her role week in, week out, and you ask her to do a job and she does it. So, I had a few injuries throughout the season with that we couldn't obviously escape, but just being able to put herself into this system now at WAFLW to get more run, to get more exposure and more football in the off season will only do her better leading into 2021.
She's a real novice actually in footy circles, isn't she? I mean, she was learning the game in her time out when she was back at Perth Angels, injured and had to sit and watch for the rest of the season, and was learning some of the rules as she was watching the game, which is bizarre to think that someone's out there playing. They're not 100% on the rules, but that is the case with some of these players, and she's getting better and better every time she's out there.
She was prepared to stand under the ball, and she released the ball by foot really well.
Chance here for Swans. Hyde could set something up with the non-preferred left. I reckon she was going longer than that, but it's worked out nicely to Cox. Open goal. Can't finish,
coach
unfortunately.
Killer, that one.
Had the player on as well. Probably could have run all the way to the goal line between the two of them, but unfortunately, Jess Cox has missed, which is a shame because Jess has played a good game this afternoon. Much improved player. And Swans could have done with a goal there as a bit of reward.
And she's a good kicker of the football too, so she'd be disappointed. Watching Juddy next to me rode that in, and she was definitely coaching from this box here. And she was going to
You probably would have, if I was down there, you probably would have heard me hit the desk.
Yeah, the desk. I coach with a bloke that hits the desk, and it scares me half out of me. Alan's lolly snake bag every time. Far side now, ball being tossed around. Guess who's trying to win this one? Probably wanted to get a chance to call some Abby Darrick stuff too, because she's come alive in this last quarter. She's starting to show some match fitness. Osborne for Swans. Sweeps the ball inside to Grundon. Back to Osborne. Subi have amassed numbers here. Squeezing the ball out the back is Buckley. Buckley's shouting to run, and Birchall does that. Connects with Charlie Thomas, and Charlie Thomas has just been, well, I think Emily Maguire was saying, this is my oval. I'm the captain of this football club, and I was a young punk myself one day, so you can have a little rub. Charlie Thomas plays on immediately and runs into open goal and pops it through. Gee, didn't take any time at all. So Charlie Thomas has kicked a couple of goals in her first couple of games. And Maguire just welcoming young players to league footy.
I reckon she was caught in two minds, Emma Maguire. She probably, if she had gone harder, she probably would have connected when the ball was in air. But she kind of hesitated, stood there, and then hit her, knocked her down once the ball had been marked. But look, obviously a clear 50-metre penalty and a fantastic finish from someone that, again, as I mentioned before, I haven't seen too much of, but really been excited and impressed with the way that Thomas has gone about her footy today, and a fantastic finish.
There's absolutely no doubt you will see a lot more of her. She's a star in the making and a really good person as well. But her footy skills are quite sensational. A real natural footballer. And she's coming in off the wing again to get involved here. But Davison beats her to the footy. Gets it towards Hyde. Nice pick up at ground level. Feeds it off to a sister. Not for the last time, not for the first time, that's for sure. They're both going at this ball as well. Just about fight each other for it. Michaela Hyde in the end wins and gives it back to Osborne. High kick to Boucher. Again, Harkin wants that front position. Made it very tough for Fee Boucher today. And then Harkin gets the clearance into the middle of the ground. Ritchie gathers the footy, does well. Stands up in the tackle and hands it off to Haynes. A kick towards Darrick. Oh, great mark. What a great contest. And Ralph has won the ball in the air and hurt her opponent as well. Hopefully she's okay. But Ralph's a real competitor. And always eyes for the football. Kick into the middle of the ground to Wheelstrup, who spreads it wide to Grundon. Grundon wants to swing on to her left pretty quickly, straightens up onto her right, kicks to half forward, uses it well. A chance for Swans to build something here. Lindgren sends it wider still. Morrison has it. Eyes for the goals once she took the mark, tumbles it wide and it'll bounce away for a behind. And looking back behind play, Darrick is up and a bit sore after that contest with Ralph, but two players who don't mind a bit of physicality and always have their eyes on the ball.
What was nice there too was after Ralph had finished the play and connected the target, just went over to check on Abby Darrick and just gave her a little pat. Siren sounds to end the quarter. Does Maggie Mack get that goal in her stats sheet? That touch, sorry, not that goal. So terrific match from these young players. I'll go to you, Reggie. Your wrap-up's sensational.
Well, it's been a big win in the end to Subiaco. The final score 6-8, 44 to 2-5, 17. The performance of Subiaco, a complete four-quarter performance in the end as the teams come together and congratulate each other. So many of them know each other very well. 3 goals to Darrick. She was a star today. Buckley, Toth and Thomas each kicked a goal, while for Swans, Wheelstrup and Morrison were their goal kickers. Unfortunately, they didn't kick a goal after half-time, Swan Districts. But Subiaco, 3 out of 3. Swans have won just the 1 game out of their first 3. And they'll be in a bit of a battle, I think, for probably 3rd or 4th spot with the likes of Claremont and Peel Thunder this year. It appears East Fremantle was certainly very impressive against South Fremantle. Struggled a little bit against Subiaco last week, so we'll watch them with some interest over the next few weeks. But Claremont and Subiaco, the other 2 teams at the top end of the table at this stage of the game, as we move towards some of the highlights from the final quarter. And Juddy, again, real sort of battle between the 2 half-back lines for most of that quarter, but Subiaco just seemed to have the edge and the better connection between their players and probably better foot skills throughout the day.
Yeah, I think that you hit the nail on the head there. I think that was the difference. Again, you can't fault the effort from Swan Districts and the young side that they've put onto the park today. But I think you've just seen the ability for Subiaco to run out quarters, get a few late goals. I think in that 2nd or 3rd quarter it was to hit the scoreboard, and then got a few in that quarter there to really finish the game off. But again, the foot skills just a little bit more cleaner on ground level, and being able to link up and the ball movement, especially off half-back to set up their forwards, I think was the difference today.
Some of the movement of the ball, you see here, some fast play at times, Diggs. The team's really happy to take a mark and roll and keep the ball moving in action.
It's hard to describe the match. There's long periods of contested ball and repeat stoppages, and then the game would break open and they'd go end to end. For a little while it would go end to end, then to go back between the half-back lines before it sort of ground to a halt again. And then when the goals were spat out, it was sort of almost unexpected when the goal was eventually spat out. There's a couple of terrific builds up from Subiaco with a couple of their sausages, but most of the stuff was just from hard work and grind at the top of 50.
Subiaco players gathering just outside their players race at the moment. They're preparing to break into song, it would appear. Amy Lavelle's just called them in. In fact, they'll have a bit of a chat first if they're going to perform the song. A lot of phones out, as there always is. They always want to capture it.
I was actually, Ashley Renshaw was carrying a chair there. I was thinking she got a rock and roll wrestling move. hit that crowd over the head with a chair. I think Subiaco are starting to look like a bit of a juggernaut in this season. I think they're really well placed. They're certainly going to be very hard to beat.
I think when you see the number of AFLW players that are coming back as well, obviously strengthens up. I've got my wife down here.
Well, she's just found out you've given the house away.
She wants a shout out apparently, so go get a kick. Go get a kick is what I've got to say.
She looks really surprised that she's bumped into Hannah Hong down there, of course. Works at Freo and at Swans in the S&C.
But as I was saying, like the amount of AFLW players that will come back into lists, I think East Freo have got a couple this weekend coming back and then a couple still to come. So you really won't probably see the strength of all sides until the last couple of rounds leading into finals, which I think is what makes it so exciting.
This season it seems to excite really the really exciting thing seems to be not only getting your AFLW players back, but promoting your really top end underage talent.
And they're good enough, aren't
Yep,
they? They certainly are. We saw that today, and I know Juddy's been impressed with some of the young players that she's seen probably for the first time here this afternoon. So it's something that's starting to happen in WAFLW. It's not just that veteran status and the outstanding AFLW players, but the youth are having a real impact. As Subiaco are about to go into the song, Maggie McLaughlin's just trying to sneak away out of the circle. She's been pushed back into the middle. Janelle Cuthbertson's in there as well. But it's time for us to wrap up here from Steel Blue Oval. Juddy, great to have you with us here this afternoon. We'll catch you again over the coming weeks as well.
Thanks for having me. It's been fun, and I'll see you in a few weeks.
Fantastic. Deggers, as always, great job. And the Lions song to take us out here after a big win over Swan Districts.
This WAFLW live stream is brought to you by Optus, proud naming rights partner of the Waffle and the WAFLW, the rear-wheel drive V6 twin-turbo Kia Stinger. Simply Energy, proudly supporting WA footy. And the West Coast Eagles, supporting WA female footballers to follow their dreams.